And welcome everybody to day 4 of ProBots 2025 season 1. We are back for all these bot battles, all the updates, all the carnage, the scrap pile, the destruction, and the battles to come. All right, everybody. Hopefully you've had a good break, and we're gonna get started. I'm gonna bring in our casters, and a sword, and laughing games. And you know what? I forgot to introduce it. Like, I'm the host, reckon. So, you know what? We're all here, everybody.
It says it there, so
Does
they
it?
figured it out. They figured it out. It says Drekken and host. So I think it would be redundant if you said it.
No. What if they don't know? You have to do the YouTuber thing where you're like, if this is your first time here, I'm Drekken, and I'm here to help you figure out the ProBots. And this is Endersword and Laughing Games. Who's joining me? Thank you.
And 60% of the viewers of this channel are not subscribed. So hit that like and subscribe below. It helps the channel out.
Actually, the percentage is like 40%.
I don't know what the percent. Yeah,
it's actually 40%. Most
not too bad.
Most people who watch ProBots are subscribed. I'll say that.
Yeah.
You guys are actually pretty awesome. So you guys are devotees of ProBots. So Laughing Games, you're back with us. It's been a hot minute.
Yes, I'm glad to be back. I'm always happy when I'm able to be here. So
we're always happy to have you. You know, this is an all Canadian cast. You know, this is it. ProBots is owned by.
That's the pinnacle. we run the AI industry in Canada.
I mean, we do. I mean,
yeah.
Power of the talent.
Some say China, some say Silicon Valley. No, it's like just north of Calgary.
That's it, right here. And so, guys, we're back, and it's been a hot minute. We've had eliminations, and we have updates. So it's time to see what magic these bots have been wrought. Endersword, you're here every week, so
yeah, true.
There's no.
They keep me locked up. Somebody call someone.
We did have a comment. Someone said, like, you know, they were excited. Like, they said you're like an institution. So
that's it. Like the library. I'm a lot like the public library, if you think about it. So everyone be quiet.
And introduce our rectangles.
Let's take a look at some rectangles. The format of how we've arrived where we currently are. We have 2 rectangles that bots must progress through in order to become champion. The group stage rectangle, which is on the left, basically there are 4 groups of 4 where there is a double elimination style, GSL style, if you will, format where the winners advance to the winners match, which makes sense, which is what we're going to be watching today. And the losers get kicked down, play the other loser, and then play the loser of the winners. It's excellent, really. And then they move on to the right rectangle, which is a 8-player format, 8-player single elimination bracket, where the quarters are best of 3, semis are best of 5, and finals are best of 7. So we're seeing who the first to advance on to said bracket shall be.
Ooh, super exciting. I actually, before we had even gone to the bracket, I wanted to ask you, Laughing Games, you cast, I would say, daily these bots.
I do, yes. Except for the other day, I forgot to schedule a video for it, so I broke my streak, despite having like a bunch ready to publish. So yeah, I do. I'm pretty familiar with all of these bots, and I gotta say, like, the matches we have today, it could easily be like the top 8 of the tournament.
Oh, easy.
As all the best bots are here for the most part. So,
what do you see different from the bots in, let's say, your cast versus when they are here in ProBots? Do you see a difference in terms of either strategies they use or maybe how they approach it?
Like, when the bot authors have published an update for it, like, there is like some mind games that I've noticed in the tournaments and stuff. So maybe like some more out there builds sort of thing, and snipes perhaps. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that from some of these bots today. So
I would say Sharkbot and Tier are the most notorious for that after an update.
Yeah, Tier, I know Tier isn't playing today, but I'm actually very excited because there has been a lot of updates published on Tier, it seems. It's been active on the ladder, and some games have been getting requested. So that's another bot I'm looking forward to for the next one. But for today, we've got like literally the best of the best. We've got Changeling later on today. which is making its tournament debut, but the authors aren't new. They're multi-time winners, right, with Eris, I think. So, and then we've got like the old but gold MicroMachine and SharpenedEdge starting us off today. So it's gonna be a great day.
Absolutely. And Endersword, you of course have seen all the bots all the time, every week, always. Do you find after an update week there's a difference?
There definitely can be, and it's always interesting in this tournament because unlike on their ladder, here they do updates often in secret, and then they haven't really fully tested them always. So it can wildly swing one way or the other. So they'll try a new strategy that is meant to snipe a particular opponent or try something out, and that either works or it spectacularly backfires in some cases. And so that can be interesting.
Because there's no way to test it, right? Like they don't have access to their opponent's bot, so they just sort of have to hope it works out and do their best.
Plus, their opponent has also made updates.
Yeah, exactly.
So sometimes you're like, oh, well, they played scissors last time. I'm going to play a rock. And then they switch to paper and you're done.
I mean, and you mentioned that they don't have updates to the bot. There was a time, actually, especially MicroMachine, where they used to download him and keep like clones of him in like backup and reserve to test against. And like, it was kind of like a Black Mirror torturous thing where you'd have backups of different MicroMachines to use to essentially learn to exploit MicroMachine sometimes. But in general, he was such a good benchmark, you could just test whatever you wanted against MicroMachine for what you would do in your opponent, right? So, it used to be open source, and they after several snipes, they promptly closed access to MicroMachine, but.
Understandably so. MicroMachine is such an interesting bot in that regard that if you look at MicroMachine and its like success, because MicroMachine prints its win rate at the start of a game, watching it, so you can actually sort of track a bot's improvements by how well it does against MicroMachine and that win rate. So
I would be, and there's two camps of this. I would be one to say that MicroMachine is complete. But one might say that if they were still working it today, it would probably be the best bot.
Oh, I agree. Like, I think it just needs it is very complete. The only thing I think it needs is like a few like meta updates for this era of StarCraft, and that's it. Like, Cyclones are a big one with it, that it hasn't really been updated because that unit's been changed a million times. Yet MicroMachine still sort of makes them, and some of that programming is not necessarily up to date, but it still functions. So
it's still coming in ProBot. Like it's actually, that is probably the most impressive part of it in general, because I mean, ProBots, the bot authors are constantly trying and updating and adapting their strategies on the ladder so that they can make it in ProBots. Anytime we come close to the cutoff date, it's just like these flurries of updates. People are posting, they're talking about what they're doing next, and how they can get just past that bottom threshold. And you have like MicroMachine and SharpenedEdge, sometimes Tier, just not doing anything, and they just kind of hover up there, and they taking those 3 spots. So
we agree that AI was perfected in Canada just outside of Montreal in 2021.
Yes.
I think it's safe to say,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so let's see the brackets. Let's see where we are at, and let's see where we're gonna go. Boom,
indeed. We had MicroMachine advancing over Kaninana to get to this winner's match, and SharpenedEdge taking out Whalemean. Again, another good old man strength against the Whalemean bot that tries to do crazy things. So we kind of do. It's almost like the senior PGA tour or something here that we're going to get in this first match.
It's true, yeah. Like it could be a game from 5 years ago, basically, what we're going to have. So it's
exactly. We should have like lifetime record of these two bots. I'm sure somebody could find and pull something like that up. But it's definitely a good one. Both of them very, very capable. SharpenedEdge was kind of one of the first bots to use like all units and stuff. It'll be a good one. On the other side, which I think we have last today, is going to be Does this match? This doesn't make sense.
Oh, that that is incorrect. So it actually should be Xena and
Xena and Zozo. Yeah, because I was going to say negativeZero and Ketroc is group.
Where did they come from?
That's Group D, so that will be the last match today. But yeah, this will be Xena versus Zozo. Both of them were 2-1 to get to the winners match. So, but kind of makes sense. Both of them are a bit cheesy, and when I say a bit, I mean Zozo is purely cheesy, and Xena is mostly cheesy, but with some macro slipped in there. So that will be interesting.
And hopefully we'll get that repaired before the next time we come back to the screen. But yep, Xena versus Zozo, and that's Group A and B. So what are we thinking
itself right now
as we speak?
Yeah,
as we speak. So actually, I'll ask you predictions, and then I'll let you guys go talk about the individual bots. But let's talk about predictions overall. Let's do a little overall in terms of where do we see who coming out, who's going down. Because we're in the winner brackets, so these are obviously stronger bots. So what are we seeing? MicroMachine, SharpenedEdge.
For that, probably MicroMachine. I think SharpenedEdge hasn't been updated for longer than MicroMachine hasn't, and I think MicroMachine generally had the edge when they both sort of stopped there. So SharpenedEdge still very good against generic play in different opponents, but I think MicroMachine will probably take that one.
And Laughing Games, your thought?
I think MicroMachine will win unless SharpenedEdge Tempest rushes like 2 times in a row.
Are we still? Is Tempest like? I feel like I have not seen Tempest for like.
I feel like years. It never got solved, and then people just kind of moved away from it. But there was never like Tempest has been shut down by this strategy. It's just people almost moved on, but it never no one ever shut it down, because we've seen a lot of dominant strategies kind of come and go, and 2 have remained as like dominant forever, which is like a Zealot rush for some reason, and the Tempest play.
All Protoss,
of course.
And then Xena Zozo.
Oh gosh, you may as well just roll a dice for that one.
I think probably Zozo, just because Xena's cheeses maybe take longer to get rolling. They're more like early game cheese, whereas Zozo's like immediate go.
Xena does have some pretty good cheese response at times though too. So I think it's gonna depend like entirely on what builds are picked, because I know at least Xena is a bot that picks its build based on previous win rate. So like, did the bot author upload that data of versus Zozo and take that into account or not? So and
race too. Xena's random, so
it's true. Yeah,
like, that's true. Absolutely.
we've had things in tournaments where like it was in the SC2 AI tournament where it was Xena versus the new bot Tom Test, now GPT, and he's like, man, I hope it doesn't get Zerg, and it got Zerg like 3 times in a row or something.
A roll of the dice, all these random. I think Edisord, I hope I'm not misquoting him, but he said like it's like if you're random, it's like what, 9 times as hard because you have to.
Yeah, basically the different matchups that you end up facing is and have to prepare for. Yeah, just so much more coding that you're gonna have to do.
Yeah. And just be that much stronger. All right, and then what's not hard though? Hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button. Super easy. I feel like by this point I shouldn't even have to tell you. As much as we've coded bots, that algorithm of the YouTube has been elusive. It's still out of.
Feels good too when you hit the like button. It just releases serotonin into your system. That's an excellent feel.
It's actually a quick way for a quick hit. Absolutely. I feel like I got my wares here, but hit that like button. You know what? If you want to give yourself a shot, you want to get a bot here in ProBots, we have a template. We're not live, but in the description button, in the description below, there is a link to a template. You can get a bot up and running less than 30 minutes, and you could have your bot here in ProBots in less than a year. I've seen it. I've seen bots get up here faster. So
yeah, you definitely can. think
What's like the newest? Probably Tom is the newest.
GPT just celebrate. Like, it's funny you say a year because GPT literally just celebrated its 1 year.
Oh wow! Yeah, I'm gonna take that milestone. You could get a ProBot. You could get into ProBots within a year. It's possible. So GPT is like Laughing Game says, GPT is only a year old.
There you
and
go.
they're
See, you can't do that in the NFL. Right? They don't. You're not even allowed to be drafted until much later than a year old.
There we go. All right, and with that, I will let the casters take it away to our games.
So, yeah, indeed. I think these will be some pretty good ones. Like we said here, we kind of get the senior tour to kick things off with MicroMachine and SharpenedEdge. If we can maybe take a look at the storied history and stats of these two bots. I still call them stats, but I don't think we really show stats anymore. We used to have like win rates and stuff, but it almost didn't quite make sense because it was their ladder win rate, and then often they perform very different over here. So I guess more the features of the bot, something like that. MicroMachine here is very aggressive with good macro behind it. It's a lot of bots will try and take on the strategy of just surviving MicroMachine and then stabilizing. But then when they get stable, they found that MicroMachine has built 6 bases. And so it's not helpful.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, MicroMachine is it's good through and through. Like, it's definitely not like the absolute best late game bot, but it's got some very good late game. It took down Canonana to get here.
Yeah.
And it had, I believe, that infestor bug fixed last time. So it is good to see that, and that's how it managed to make it here. So well done. And I think SharpenedEdge is gonna give us like a good game here, depending on what build it chooses. I think may come down to that, because MicroMachine, you usually know about what to expect. There's only a few things, and they're relatively minor variations from one to the other. How heavily it goes, either Reaper or Banshee, a few things like that, but the core of it is relatively similar, whereas SharpenedEdge does have a bit of variation to it, and it does have more late game units available to it. So it can react to most things, strong early pushes and smooth transition into late game. So again, if it could stabilize, get an economy up, it's pretty decent. These days it's more like a gimmick machine trying to surprise the other one. Don't know how much that's gonna go. I think this is more the thing. While it can use like all the units late, it doesn't almost have a late game smothering plan like a lot of the other late game bots have. That they'll have like this is what you do when we're mining the entire map out and like whatever. SharpenedEdge I don't think is that late sort of thing. It's more like kind of a 4 base. Definitely. And I mean, it does very well, and it's still one of the top bots out there.
For sure. And it's made with the Sharpie framework. And that's one that if you're looking to get into bot making yourself, is out there as something that can be used, which is relatively easy to get into. Yeah,
the Sharpie framework is one that's very highly respected, and there's a fair few bots built upon it. So if you do want to get into programming your own bot, that is one of the options there for you, as it takes care of a lot of the base groundwork you have to do in programming your bot.
And again, like mentioned, hasn't really been in development for 2 or 3 years, and just maintaining it basically to make sure that it still works on the current maps and game, etc.
Which is, again, it's great to see that even the bot authors who like aren't necessarily putting like big changes into their bots, they still maintain the projects.
Exactly. They treat them like, I don't know, vending machines or something. Just go refill them every few months and they're good.
That definitely works.
So I think we may, based on that screen, may be ready to get into the game. So let's start here on Automaton and get going. Maybe. No,
Nope, we're back to us.
It's us. Maybe
They
they
just
have to
wanted to
get
see
there
us
from
one
here.
last time before the
Yeah.
game starts.
That makes sense. You're pretty handsome. So it's a good
But-
call. Yeah, we got to keep the viewers in. Make the thumbnail good. And we'll see. So let's see if we're hopping in now. It says soon. You never quite know what that means.
Soon TM? There
Yeah.
should be a TM after that soon. There we go.
And do we have intros?
MicroMachine. Sharpened Edge.
So MicroMachine has transitioned from being a Hearthstone card to now looking a lot more Wally-esque.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest
You know,
update Micro
yeah.
Machines had in years,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, exactly.
Changing of the portrait.
SharpenedEdge is still just a knife. It doesn't even look like a sharp knife, to be honest. It kind of looks dull, like a sword for show on a wall. But we'll
Sort of
May-
like one of
may
those
have
knives
some
you'd get off like eBay or something
yeah,
from China.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, neither of them like appearing to do anything too cheesy early on here.
Yeah, which is nice to see. Like both these bots have very good macro openings. Now, the cool thing about Micro Machine is that it pretty much always builds a Reaper at the start of the game.
Yeah.
So it does like even if there's no rush or anything, you still have to deal with Micro Machine's Reaper.
Yes, for the longest time, it was a real threat to just win the game with that Reaper.
Yeah.
That very often its cheese defense was getting one Reaper out and the Reaper killing everything in the opponent's mineral line while their cheese was happening and then failed.
Yeah, it was basically the filter for bots.
Yeah.
Dealing with Micro Machine's Reaper. So
Yeah.
Okay, that Reaper does pop out, kills the scouting probe of SharpenedEdge, and there's that bunker for Micro Machine.
Indeed, here for the speed gas mining, which you'll see once that gets up, makes the gas mining quicker, more efficient, and takes less SCVs to do.
Yeah, and in StarCraft 2, every worker matters. Bot authors have got pretty good at squeezing out as much efficiency as possible.
Yeah, there are bots, or there are builds that these bots can do that are not humanly possible due to their speed mining techniques. And there it goes, flipping in and out of the bunker. People from like the beginning of the game wanted to make these cool bunker chains that like automatically zip units places and stuff. And it was always kind of a fun gimmick, but the bots actually making that into a workable mechanic is pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is very, very cool. Now, Micro Machine is just scouting with its Reaper for now. And Automaton isn't a great map for, like, Reaper harassment, but maybe it'll be able to get into that natural base or main base and get after some probes. SharpenedEdge does actually intercept that Reaper, though. Grenade gets tossed down to send those units flying, but no real damage done.
Yeah, just shields, just feelings hurt.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay, Micro Machine has the factory done, and it does fire up a siege tank, so just a nice, safe unit there, followed up by the starport. The Reaper will jump into the main base, so SharpenedEdge is going to have to scramble to handle that. Reaper throws down a grenade, perfectly placed to catch that probe.
And yeah, just stockpiling up. We are going to have the warp gate finished with Blink on the way. Blink always a fun one to watch when done well.
Yeah, that's something a lot of bot authors gravitate towards.
Yeah.
It's just because it's that unlimited micro potential with a bot type thing. So
yeah. It's why I chose Protoss as a player. Just early games of like pros doing like that little queued chain blink where like the stalkers will single file walk to a spot and then
Yeah.
individually blink onto a cliff or something. It was just cool.
That is very very cinematically pleasing for
Yeah.
sure. And yeah, just it is cool to see how every bot has, like, even though there's probably a dozen bots out there that go blink with Protoss, they all do it differently because you have
Yeah.
so many choices to make as a bot author. Will you blink aggressively and try and pick off units defensively, or what basically?
Yeah. Yeah, and some do it like wave style, others do it completely individualistic.
Mm-hmm.
And like they'll treat the stalkers as like scattering, which is, it will often look like the stalkers are starting to lose a fight, but then they're just so evasive and like nothing can ever quite get to them or really get the hull damage on.
Yeah, it gives them incredible survivability, and that may be getting put to the test in a moment here as MicroMachine was moving out with its army. We see that line streaming across the map there, and it's quite an early game force from the Terran. This is a MicroMachine special in that it just sort of builds up a ragtag group of units and says it's fighting time. And there's that third base in a little bit of trouble here as the units and tanks start rolling on up.
Yeah, the tank location will matter here as it's going to kind of get attacked from the back as the army was not in probably the expected position. Tank firing from the low ground here. It's going to be hard to move down there right away, but all the bio is up top, so ultimately nothing's near the tank when they do get there. But a lot of the gateway stuff has been cleared out.
Yeah, SharpenedEdge's stalkers have just been whittled down. Now, two from the north actually do come down, though, and get on top of the tanks to pick those off, wisely walking on top of the tanks so they can't fire. And now the bio's left to fend for itself. We do see the incredible micro of MicroMachine's Marines just stimming after the stalkers. And army supply isn't looking that good for SharpenedEdge, but there is a Colossi on the way.
Yeah, it's going to need that to be able to stabilize. Unfortunately, the Thermal Lance part of it won't be done for a little while. So may have to give up this base and then try and defend at the natural instead. But really has to kind of get the gateway up. And of course, while this is happening, MicroMachine is always still trying to transition. So two Banshees are on the way as well. So while you may think like, okay, Colossus and a switch into Zealots is really, really good, you still need something that can shoot up a little later.
Yeah, and the Colossi does eat some tank shots. The Banshee's there too. So that is going to go down. And MicroMachine, yeah, it's just phenomenal without skipping a beat. Just macroing up behind this with that third command center almost done. And I think SharpenedEdge is just going to fold under this pressure. It didn't trade well enough against these units, and now it's out of stuff.
Yeah, you don't often say a tank position on the low ground is what you want, but in this case, that was exactly what MicroMachine wanted. It's just in a hard enough to access position that it's covering all this stuff on the high ground. And then it feels like SharpenedEdge's units weren't adequately scared of it.
No, it did eat some shots there, and yeah, just not enough units for SharpenedEdge. Another Colossi does pop out, but again, there's 3 Banshees in the sky, 4 Banshees in the sky for MicroMachine, and we've already hit the fast forward point, so it is indeed over.
Indeed. So yeah, I think the initial way that this engaged, had SharpenedEdge's army responded in the right way where it kind of came down from behind and flanked, but it engaged bio on the high ground enough in the tank range that it took a lot of really crucial hits and wasn't able to shut it down. It eventually was able to flank that position and get 2 tanks, but by then it was already on the back foot. The army supply was like 35 to 10 something at that point, and it was just hard to recoup. I think when you've got a Colossus coming out to try and save you, it's got to have enough gateway in front of it for it to do its job, but it just kind of wandered down, not quite alone, but like it and 2 Zealots, and that's not going to help you.
No, that was really well executed by MicroMachine. For example, there it also kind of just completely negated the Zealots, because if there was a Zealot closing in on the Marines, they're just pulling back. So I almost wonder if SharpenedEdge would have been better just spending that money on more stalkers potentially, because they were at least actually getting damage done on the bio. Yeah, really well done by MicroMachine.
Indeed, it was. So different maps and different build situations, of course, can change things. So we'll see on the next one coming up. It's going to be Abyssal Reef. And again, particularly for the timing of that sort of push, I think the location of the third made a really big difference there. The way that the tanks got in and sieged, it was just in a really good spot where it covered essentially both ramps that you could get to come down to it, and it covered a really good portion of the high ground where a lot of the fighting was happening. So it just ended up in a really good spot. If you get ones where the third is further out, like more linearly out, then the tanks are going to siege up there, and then you don't necessarily have them covering that between the third and natural part, whereas we did this time. So it can make a big difference.
Yeah, 10 seconds until we get into that next game, and we'll see if SharpenedEdge is able to tie it up here.
Yep. Us again.
Us again.
Let's go in, though.
Let's go.
MicroMachine. MicroMachine. Sharpened Edge.
Okay, so SharpenedEdge goes for just a gateway gas. MicroMachine building all its stuff on its side of the map too. So
Yep.
we may be having another respectful game here.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, MicroMachine generally, hitting some of those good timings, kind of like it did. Maybe a similar thing. It does keep track, as you saw in the chat at the start of the game, what its record is in the encounter. So it knows I won 100% with what I just did. So quite possible it does the same thing. Small difference here, just the map itself again, because the gases are on two different sides, it can't do the bunker speed mining.
Yeah.
So we'll be a little bit slower on gas stuff.
Yeah, little things like that can have big effects where the code is the same, the map is the variable. So we do have MicroMachine just going for that wall off on the high ground.
Was
Reaper
able to
on
put
the
some
way.
damage on that SCV, but then it got inside its wall in time.
Yeah, SharpenedEdge did go double gateway. Just got that first zealot on the way. And yeah, like you said, the map can really, like, if MicroMachine does go out for another attack, it's a completely different attack path towards, say, that third base or natural. And that could really change it up. We do get a robo from SharpenedEdge. No expo yet.
Yeah, it's looking one base-ish. Because I think last time we got the Twilight first. So it could be just an Immortal push. It could even be a Warp Prism push. Although I'd expect maybe more gateways for that.
Yeah, we'll see. Could be throwing up a Nexus soon, as it does hit that 400 mineral mark, but still nothing. Just fires up an Immortal. Extra pylon going up. Yeah, SharpenedEdge is meaning business.
Pretty committed to this. Reaper will get up, take a peek, and jump down. Okay, now SharpenedEdge saying it. The robo
answers our question.
Yeah, I feel like it decided that a while ago and was just telling us.
Yeah, that's a little funny there. Now that first Immortal's out with a second one on the way. MicroMachine will have to contend with a lot of gateway units early on. It does have a tank on the way. No bunker or anything building like that just yet. Stargate, double racks production, getting out Marines for now. And how long until SharpenedEdge decides to move out with this?
I'd imagine it goes at the 2. I would again wouldn't be too surprised at 2 and then a warp prism, because it needs some sort of forward pylon to maintain this, but it's going to keep going. Okay, so that is a warp prism,
Right,
but
you
then
are, yeah.
but then I would expect this army to move, because usually that can catch up with you. Those are quick.
It's true. Sometimes that is one of my criticisms of SharpenedEdge. Sometimes it waits for something, like it sort of hangs on something else being done before it moves out. It does move out a little bit earlier, but like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
sometimes it's very linear and doesn't do multiple things at once. MicroMachine,
Yeah, doing it down here.
yeah, it will
All right.
find that opportunity to build that bunker.
I wonder if it knows that it can then use that bunker as a bunker.
I think it does, I want to say, but I can't recall totally. I know it definitely can, like the bunkers can serve as like a sponge.
Yeah.
Even if units don't pile into it. Now SharpenedEdge is crossing that map. 32 army supply against 25 presently. If the prism gets used for warp-ins, that would be very big. For now, stalkers do just poke up the ramp. They have to poke up to provide vision, as the prism did lag a little bit, but now it's there. And it can potentially juggle these units. MicroMachine pulls some SCVs into the fight. That's very important. But a lot of those SCVs are going down.
Yeah, a lot got taken out because the army wasn't really near them to cover, so they weren't really helping as much as they could have. And again, most of the army is now behind the base here, but that's not kind of where the bio is focused. It's trying to go down the ramp.
MicroMachine's being pulled in multiple directions here by this army.
Oh, I like this. The moving to the high ground here, and now he's clumped up like all together. It kind of re-centralized. And yeah, it's looking quite good. It's always a matter of then how do the bots do at the ramp. So this is quite a bit of damage done, but now we're just kind of one base to one base.
2 tanks on the high ground is no joke, and they are shelling away already, softening up some of those immortals. MicroMachine is repairing that command center as well, so it's not going to burn down and can be relanded later if it survives. Stim pack done for MicroMachine. There's not a lot of bio units left to stim, but SharpenedEdge is also bleeding out a ton of units.
Yeah, and they're just kind of drifted the wrong way. If they had moved the other way towards the tanks, then maybe we could have got some shots off, but instead this will get cleaned up. Oh, and that's not a great time for the prism
now. It hadn't warped in, I don't think, until then, and then promptly dies. So MicroMachine doesn't waste any time. It lands that command center upon cleaning that up, so very good programming there. And now it's already focusing on the counterattack. This is the impressive thing. We do see SharpenedEdge. It is floating lots of chrono energy and just chilling on one base. We'll see. Maybe there's a world that can muster a defense and MicroMachine overextends, but it is quite concerning for...
Yeah. 2 immortals at home. Like, certainly you can, if you can get on top of things and take them out quickly. There's not a lot of bio with this, so you're not up in this defensive position anymore. The Cyclone kind of goes the wrong way, and he's going to retreat from this. But once again, MicroMachine never gives up. There's Banshees coming, never stops advancing, basically.
Yeah, it's got an armory as well, interestingly enough. Not sure what the usage for that is going to be, but...
It's seeing a game that it's winning as a one-baser, but it's still thinking 3-3 on everything.
Yeah, getting attack upgrades for those Banshees. SharpenedEdge does have a Twilight Council started. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's going to get Blink. And there we go. All of a sudden, we get a Nexus, a Probe, an Observer, and a Sentry fired up at once. Yeah. That's the funny production of SharpenedEdge. It's like, okay, we're going to macro now. And starts up that transition.
So army coming across this time. 2 tanks a little closer with it. I think they were slow to come last time. They were like halfway across when the main army hit, but here we got more.
Yeah, we'll see if MicroMachine commits or is potentially pushed back once more. SharpenedEdge has an immortal on the high ground. That's tough to get down there. Tanks are sieged in the bushes there and just absolutely deleting these Protoss units. Man, MicroMachine is is so good with its aggression, and there's nothing really left for SharpenedEdge.
Yeah, even landing the Viking there, which walks itself back when damaged. And yeah, just a mix of units that creates like constant bait. Like you constantly want to keep targeting something and take it out, but you just can't. The other thing comes up and you end up in a cyclone lock or tank fire or something.
Yep, MicroMachine pushing forward now. I think it's safe to say that the Red Terran has taken this series.
Yep.
Tank shelling away on the Nexus. A Cyclone just rolling into the main base will go down, but there's a Banshee there that's unanswered. And yeah, MicroMachine is able to make it into the round of 8 without dropping a match.
Yep. Yeah, just solid. You can see uses everything, keeps going. A lot of ability to absorb things like that. Keeping the base alive was a big key in that initial aggression. That could have easily gone down for a lot of bots that didn't script in a repair for it or something. That was very close. So yeah, that sort of thing. Even the positioning on the two tanks being on the high side, there's less surface area on that side, so it's more likely that the units ended up where they did on the Protoss ends of things. So yeah, just everything kind of working well, because I thought that initial fight was going really well for SharpenedEdge, but then you know that it's going to always be a problem to go up that final ramp.
Yeah, and the fact that MicroMachine was wise enough to stay up on top of that ramp as well was very good for it.
Yeah, a lot of things would panic and like send the tanks down to be more useful or something, but no, you know that you've got this fallback position, so you use it. Yeah, because this was a really good setup. We do get a warp in here, and at this point, it looks pretty overwhelming. And I think if you're able to kill the CC, then you switch into a contain. But since this is a one base thing, that's not really in the cards. It kind of feels like it has to go up.
Yeah. Then it's just pain from the tanks pretty much, as SharpenedEdge. Like, it's very difficult to program your bot to not hang up on these buildings because there's units right in front of it. Like, there's Marines and Marauders soaking the shots while the tanks just fire away. Yeah,
you feel like you're getting damage. Even the repairing SCVs, it's like, okay, I'd take out 4 more of those. That's great, but he's still got more workers than you because you're one basing. And then once he relands that, like, look at where we are here, already back to 46. And yeah, you're just not going to catch up with it. So yeah, pretty good, pretty dominant overall, good unit control over this. And now let's go into 2 very different bots. It's going to be Xena and Zozo, cheesing it up. Xena could transition into something more macro-ish, but it's very unlikely the game will get to that point. So we'll see. We'll pull the stats up for these fine folks.
All right.
So Xena, as mentioned, one of our random bots. I think we had 3 random bots in the tournament this time around, which is, I think, the most we've ever had.
Yeah.
It's not too common. Like, it is really a lot to code. You have to come up with a bunch of situations, what to do. Obviously, the builds are totally different. And you kind of, because you have to code your units like individually, like this is how this unit works, whatever. There's just no savings in it. You have to figure it all out. So Xena is quite aggressive, but occasional surprise macro. They always say the cheesiest thing a cheesy player can do is macro.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that will occasionally shock some people. The weaknesses, maybe adapting to evolving late game. I assure you that will not be an issue in this matchup.
No, probably not.
Yeah. And yeah, so this helps. If you're going to be a random bot, you probably need this sort of thing: sophisticated resource manager and build planner, ensuring that the build doesn't get stuck or starve important parts. And that's going to allow you to make a lot more flexible builds and stuff in your bot. So instead of just kind of having a coded out thing of I'm going to do this, having that sort of flexibility that can switch from one to the other is pretty good. And Xena is built from scratch. It does not use any third-party framework for this. and made in Haskell, so I don't think there is one.
Okay, then we've got Zozo, which is very aggressive itself, but quite an advanced bot. In tournaments, and it does like to bring out those very cheesy builds, such as like the gateway flower, that kind of thing, or pro brushes potentially.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel it evolved from just pro brushing to the zealot rushing. That's what it is, from a tier 0 units to tier 1 units. Weaknesses is facing an opponent playing random, so we'll see. Although I don't know how much of a difference it makes.
Yeah, yeah. Like you imagine, Zozo probably has some universal cheeses, but anyway.
Yeah, I always like this part. It was initially meant to be a sparring partner to check another bot against how well it does against worker rushes. Then the worker rushes turned out to be really, really good. So it became a standalone bot that is cheesing. It's good to have these sort of bots in existence because there's always like chump check bots. Like, if you can't pass this barrier, then then you can't be here. So, yeah, if you can't stop the pro brush, then you got to work on it. If you can't stop a zealot rush, as you can see, many bots cannot. So these need to exist.
Game 1 is going to be here on Acropolis. So we're going to get on into that, and yeah, we'll see which race Xena starts off in Game 1.
Indeed we shall, and we are hopping in now.
Oh.
Xena. Zozo.
Okay, so we've got a suspicious probe moving out, but a gateway in the main. So Xena may be safe, as it's just a scout.
Yeah, often a scout and like a wall blocker. Yeah, that makes sense. So the pylon here to make sure that a wall doesn't go up before whatever cheese it is looking to do moves out. Although an interesting component to this is that Zozo has not built across the map, and it's taken a gas.
Yeah, so that sort of screams stalkers or something like that. Now Xena, I sort of chuckled because it is actually playing macro based off its tag at the start of the game, which is not something you see from Xena's Terran a lot. When you think of Xena's successes, it's like in, say, like its Marauder cheeses and that kind of thing. So this is quite a treat we're going to get and see how well it does against Zozo here.
Yeah, and I don't know what Zozo's quite up to. I don't know that I've seen gas taken by Zozo, to be honest.
I think if it does this, it's usually going to be like Stalker, Robo, Prism Aggression.
Makes sense.
That's like its bread and butter if it's not gonna rush most of the time. Yeah. Although like Zozo is a bit of an advanced bot, it can go into things like Tempest later on in the game too. So it's got all the capabilities, and so does Xena. So it's,
yeah, will be interesting here. Okay, a shield battery. So that implies defensiveness. So it almost implies cheesing your way up to something higher tech, maybe. So maybe it is something. No, there's a Robo.
Yeah, Robo is on the way. Stalker's just being produced. I think Zozo just builds that battery because it can. Like maybe it's got the extra minerals, so they threw it in.
Yeah, figures the gas is a constraint, so I might as well throw this down. That's certainly possible.
Yeah, and then Xena is just playing with a couple of racks for now. No bunker at the natural does make me a little concerned because unupgraded Marines do fare horribly against Stalkers that micro. And yeah, so we'll see if Xena is going to build something that will help it defend this oncoming cheese or not. It's got a factory going up now. but it's floating a fair bit of money, and yeah, it's not building a bunker is my main concern.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see a timing of a push out. So obviously a warp prism coming and a Stargate.
Oh man, Xena goes for a third command center. No warp gate, notably, from Zozo. That is, Zozo's the best Protoss bot that doesn't go for warp gate. I think it's just stubbornness at this point.
which is interesting with the warp prism. Because then if you're not doing immortal stuff, what's this? I guess it's for the Stalker micro.
Yeah, that's all it's for. Xena does, or Zozo does have very good prism micro most of the time. But the fact it's waiting for the Stargate makes me quite concerned, because like if it's building Tempest, that is going to give Xena enough time to have its production off of these 3 bases. And yeah, what's Zozo waiting for?
Yeah, there's definitely a clock here before the economy gets a little too out of control and it doesn't matter anymore. And yeah, the Stargate not being used, there's certainly enough gas and minerals that something should be coming out of this.
And I mean, now Xena, it's producing a Marauder, it's getting Stim on the way.
Yeah.
Like, it still is lacking units, but the fact that, say, it's adding in Medivacs to its composition is going to help skirmishing. And yeah, Zozo just goes for a very late Nexus here, so it's playing like a safe macro build, but Xena's bringing in twice as many minerals as Zozo presently.
Okay,
this
Fleet
is quite
Beacon.
concerning. Yeah, it is going to Tempest, but it's very late.
Yeah, so unless this is just really predicated on good control or exploiting some inability to engage with the Tempest properly, then this could be a problem. Because it doesn't feel like a smooth way to get here.
Oh my gosh, 4th command center. That's the Xena thing. Xena is one of the scariest cheesy bots, but like its macro is just as scary.
It's really good. Yeah, whereas I feel like Zozo's getting to if you're going this late game on things, and not that this is super late, but if you're going to this tech path, that Nexus should have come down way sooner.
Definitely. And this could almost be like Xena playing, or Zozo playing to Xena's reputation. Like 9 out of 10 games Xena would be cheesing right now, so Zozo would be absolutely right to build a shield battery and lots of units and stay home. And that does make me wonder if the bot author made that decision or not, to sort of play it safe, or if there's some sort of memory or just bad luck as far as the build choices goes.
Yeah, definitely. If you thought, hey, I'm going to have to absorb this build, which will be a bunch of Marines, so a bunch of Stalkers up top with the shield battery is unbeatable, then I'll transition to a later thing, and there's no point in taking this low ground Nexus because I can't defend it. Like, that would make sense.
Yeah.
If that's the thinking. Yeah.
If there's a mind game going on right now, Zozo has definitely lost, and this is where Xena is getting ridiculously scary. It's building a ton of barracks right now, and it's just going to be able to pump out a ridiculous amount of units. There is 1 Tempest being built for Zozo, but it's quite scary, as the Terran also has got 2-1 upgrades on the way. It's building Ghosts. This really is a treat from Xena.
That is interesting. It's fun. We've seen some, I think it's Tier that uses Ghosts to good effect, but mostly against Zerg.
Yeah, they're a unit that probably isn't as explored as much as they could be. Xena can just build whatever it wants, though, here. Like, it's bringing in almost 4,000 minerals a minute. It cannot have enough barracks right now, as it just adds on more and more and more, and it's just heading towards that 200 supply mark now. A 5th command center on the way. Oh man, Zozo is going to have a tough time with this one.
Yeah, indeed. And like, for all this time, and we still just got the one Tempest out, and there's not even more building or anything. It's just like, so that was a long walk to get to this place, and we've got the one warp prism, and nothing else was made from that robo other than an observer. Like, there just could be a lot more, but it's because, of course, like, the resources aren't there. Because the expansions didn't come down. Like, that's too much to build on one base. So I think if that order was changed, but
Yeah, definitely the order and the just amount of units and production Zozo went for early on is hurting it. Like, it is getting up a third Nexus. Its probe count is rising. There is a world in which Zozo somehow defends this attack of Xena that will be coming, and then can sort of whittle down the Terran with Tempest and just good stalker control potentially, because it does have a good economy now. It is getting up more production. Just, it's going to be a very rough next minute for Zozo, I think.
This, could get rough. We'll see what the reaction is to even one Tempest. Very often, even just the presence of one thing will throw stuff off. But
I think Xena has already seen the Tempest, though, and it just is sticking with the bio. It's adding on 7 barracks behind this. Zozo is juggling those stalkers with the Prism. There's EMP going down, though, and this is just scary.
Everything. Cut absolutely every unit get hit with that EMP.
Yeah. Xena showing us exactly what a bot can do if it's just left to macro with speed mining and mules and everything good. And Zozo just melts under the pressure. Xena is building 18 Marines at a time. It's building 7 more barracks. And Zozo is dead.
Yeah. Yep, so that was decisive once it happened. I think you're right in that Zozo must have just been expecting to absorb a cheese and then transition to something, and that's just not what happened.
Yeah.
So, quick one. A lot of build up for a very quick just walkover of that type of army. And no adverse reaction to Tempest being there, anything like that. You can often see that even the presence of one unit, like a one Liberator or something, causes the army to be scared. And even though they outnumber them 3-1, they won't go. But no such response this time around.
Yeah, and so Xena takes game number 1 on Acropolis. Our next map will be Thunderbird.
Yeah.
A bit of a different map in that it does have mineral walls, which can mess with bots when it comes to the pathing, the bases they take. Thunderbird's not a new map or anything, so there isn't any major bugs, I don't think, but it is always a factor, that sort of pathing direction.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that screw up some rushes and how things advance, that you can kind of see even how they engage in fights, that I think until they actually get to that point, they think they can walk through it because they can see things on the other side, but it just reacts weird. And usually I speculate on how the map change will cause a different thing, but the whole race could change, so who knows.
Yeah We'll see.
So we'll hop in to game number 2. Let's get going.
Zozo.
You gotta love Zozo's portrait there.
Yeah. It just explains it all very well.
Okay, now we do have Xena planning on going for a Ling Flood based on the chat, which is definitely a lethal build against Protoss. You gotta have a perfect wall to defend Ling Floods for the most part. And again, that speed mining just makes builds like this so killer. We'll see if Xena goes for a third base before this, but it looks like Zozo's just going for 2 gates once more.
Yeah, and it does look kind of like the conventional semi-wall off here at the top of the ramp, which is probably what you want, but see what ends up in place and how well it's controlled. Very often bots build the right thing, but then don't quite control the unit correctly in terms of standing in the spot it's supposed to, and not running down the ramp and getting surrounded and stuff. So we'll see. It feels like it's the right reaction, and I definitely get the sense that Zozo is moving out to check the race and then making a decision. So we'll see.
Yeah, Xena does begin producing lings. It is mining gas, so it will be a speed ling rush. It's not just some slow ling build. But I do love that Zozo is going for that shield battery on the high ground once again. That can be so pivotal if there's a unit in that wall that is being recharged by the shield battery to defending a rush like this.
Indeed. Yeah, so it's going to be a stalker in the
Look at that,
gap.
it
We'll
just
see if it
pops
locks
right in the wall.
Yeah. That's what you want. But
The other one
yeah,
kind
the
of
fact
bumps it out of the
the
way.
fact it movement tells me that I'm not seeing hold position there, but we shall see how it reacts to
Yeah.
such things.
Hopefully that stalker decides to hold the door there and just stay
Yeah.
put.
Yeah, 3 of them not too bad. As long as they don't do anything too silly, then that is good. And this could be the type of thing that the exact thing that it thought was going to happen the first game of build this stuff up. I'm going to make these units. I'm going to hold against early aggression. Once I feel I've cleared that up, I'll expand. Yeah, like the logic of that is perfectly sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it very well may work in this game.
Yeah.
Now, my one concern is that stalkers are junk at killing zerglings.
Yes.
So, like, it's going to take them quite a while to cut through all these lings.
Yeah.
The question is, will that battery and the stalker be able to hold the wall long enough? Like, it's a good number of lings, but it's not too many that I think
Yeah.
6 stalkers should be able to clean this up, I think.
Yeah, and you can't
Okay.
back
Oh,
up.
no.
Yeah, no, it's over.
Okay, but Zozo does have very good probe micro, and it's
Yeah,
involving them to help
that's true.
soak for this. There is
Yeah.
no battery overcharge or energy. Oh,
Okay,
there's the battery
they've ended
overcharge.
they've ended up a good position. But yeah, then into the mineral line here. Okay, we'll be able to clean it up, but that's a lot of workers lost.
Yeah, I mean, 9 is still a manageable amount. It kept
Yeah.
all the stalkers alive.
Yeah,
Xena is just building in more lings, but this is the cool thing about Xena. We get a transitioning chat tag.
Yeah.
It fires up a roach warren, and Xena, I believe the author wrote Zoe and Evil Zoe, which were very good macro Zerg bots. So like that's why Xena does have very good macro. We'll see if it can transition. It's gonna try its luck again with these lings.
so how many probes may die this time will be a key.
Not many.
Not
Zozo's
many.
probe
None
micro
yet.
is just so darn
Yeah.
good.
Okay, did get down to 9 again, but we'll hold there.
Yeah, 9 mining is disrupted, but Zozo does have a very high stalker count presently. Now would be the time to probably counterattack if it knew that Xena was transitioning, but it doesn't know that. As far as it knows, it could be another rush.
For sure. Yeah, it doesn't know that it's not just keep coming. The really bad part of losing the workers is what the priority is. You see that he's pulled them all off of gas completely, and this build completely relies on that gas to continue. So it's not able to produce more stalkers, let alone a Tempest off this one base.
Yes, we'll see what it's going to spend those minerals on. Like, it's got enough to build a Nexus. Will it try and build a Nexus? Or is it just going to wait till it has like 16 probes before it puts them back into gas? It could just be bugged out and not going to reassign those probes to gas even.
Yeah.
We do see a probe go to the low ground, so I think we will get a Nexus.
Yeah, and I think this is good. The fact that this has started up again. One saving grace is that Xena did not take a third base to assist in the Ling flood and is only getting that now as well. Had there been 3 behind, that transition was called relatively early. You'd get a worker explosion. Even now, we've got 2 full bases running. There's only 19 workers on Xena's side. This could be way, way, way worse.
Yeah, it definitely could. And Xena does have that third base up, but Zozo is getting its economy back on track as it's up to 18 probes again. It's mining that gas once more, which is good to see. And it does have the Stargate done, so we'll see if we do eventually get that fleet beacon. And from what I know, Xena is a bot that doesn't build corruptors, so Skytoss can be very strong against it.
Lings moving across the poke. Not too many of them, though. We'll run into the stalkers up there. Shield battery coming on the low ground.
Yeah, drones being squeezed on out by Xena. You've got to respect that Xena is kind of playing it safe in the sense that it's making a few drones, making a few units.
Yeah.
At the same time, that is sort of closing the gap economically between them, as opposed to if Xena was just like rushing up to 50 or 60 drones.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it will feel like it's getting a little out of control because we just haven't returned back to Zozo's plan. No, I'm not sure that there was exactly one, but
yeah,
but
What
the
is the
intention, assuming that it was a similar thing of going up to Tempest, we haven't gotten back on that trail yet.
Oh my gosh, look at Xena's creep too.
Yeah.
Creep is, we're 8 minutes into the game and Xena has covered from its door to Zozo's door. Zozo has to build an observer now if it wants to take a third base, which it does, which at least it's building one to potentially clean up this creep, but still, that is just not a good feeling as the Protoss to have your Nexus denied by creep. And will that build? Oh, the creep just spreads in time. Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah, blocking off there, which is pretty rough.
Okay, where's that observer? There was an observer made. Okay, Zealot's trying to clean up the creep tumor at the third base, so it may be able to expand there, but it's very difficult for bot. Like, we've seen burrowed lings in bot games block bases for a long time now.
Yeah.
Bot authors have mostly solved that, but there is times in which a creep tumor, just like right on the outskirts of a base, will not be within the attack range and get cleaned up. So Zozo may never be able to get up a third base here.
Yeah, we still got the Stargate here, the Forge coming down. He wasn't going to use the Stargate until there's the Fleet Beacon, and that's just not going to happen. Now I think he's just blocking his own potential Nexus there, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what that pylon's for, really.
Well, it's gone now anyway.
Yeah.
So. We do get a Fleet Beacon eventually for Zozo. Xena has covered the map in creep, and it's just continuously blocking that third base attempt. There is a cannon building for Zozo. Where's that cannon building? It's got to be at like the natural or... Okay.
Yeah, in the natural, yeah.
Actually trapped in a probe, I think, there.
Fun.
Yeah, like Zozo wants to expand. Like the program, it's trying to build a cannon to secure this base. Yeah. Xena's quite aggressive though, so it does keep attacking this location. And then there's the observer flying around, but the creep tumors on the outskirts aren't being killed. And in comes Xena to shut that down once more.
Yeah, it may push now, stop short still. There is finally a Tempest on the way, but it's at the same time that Vipers are going to be on the way.
Yeah, that's not great. Now, Xena does like to just build Roach Hydra Infester so like it can be susceptible to those ultimate late game comps because it doesn't build Corruptors, but again, if your opponent doesn't get a third base, it doesn't really matter what they're building. We do get Zozo moving down to push these creep tumors back actually, which is really good to see. It may just be able to secure an expansion yet. Okay, Zozo moving on out, looking to get aggressive against Xena. 78 army supply against 87, so it's not the biggest lead in the world.
Indeed, 'tis not, but just looking at the map, it's hard to see anywhere that Zozo can go here.
Yeah, we do get a third started though.
Yeah, it does get going.
Yeah, good on Zozo. Like that's incredible redundancy, being able to actually start that base up. It now being aggressive is also kind of saving itself from counterattacks, it seems, as Xena positions to get ready to absorb this army. The Tempest count is going up. I believe there's is there two or still just one? I think there's two now. And Tempest can kill Xena. Like,
Yeah.
Xena's Zerg has been susceptible to Sky Toss in the past. Can Zozo get up to, like, that count it needs in order to win here?
Yeah, and I just feel like count needs to be a fair bit higher. But you can definitely see, because of the range difference, Hydra's not being as great at
Mhm.
getting on them, and it's just a matter of bravery often in terms of how they're coded,
Yeah.
that they won't close the gap on them when they see that it's there.
Yeah, it's true. And there is so many stalkers as well to buffer, which are another unit that's great at just poking and prodding and having those prolonged engagements, which Tempest really thrive under. Xena is at 200 supply, so it should be gearing up to attack, and we are seeing that army move out to secure up another base, but it's still just being defensive. I think Xena needs to fight sooner rather than later. Instead, it's just waiting to absorb this attack, but that's just giving Zozo all the time it needs.
Yeah, I think you have to have something decisive happen to this gateway stuff on the bottom.
Okay, Xena moves in, but then it
Yeah,
sends everything but the anti-air back,
Yeah.
it seems. Here comes in the rest of the Zerg force. A bit of a poor engagement from Xena. It's not fighting with all of its army here.
yeah, really walking into a meat grinder here, and I think the rocks in this position, I think, is half confusing it.
Yeah, definitely so. As Xena just throws away a big chunk of its army. Now the Zerg bot still has very good production, but like the Lings are not partaking in this fight at all. The Infestors did not partake in that fight at all. And that is very poor for the Zerg. The Lings are going to try and commit on top of this, as Zozo does pick up some of these stalkers, the Lings, and we actually do see neural parasites on the Tempest, which is very cool. As the stalkers actually kill the Tempest before it's released, it gets neuraled yet again. Okay, that's pretty good for Xena.
Yeah, I think taking those away is, largely what is causing the confusion in the army. And yeah, there's the neural yet again. And sometimes you'll have people code such that they won't kill their own unit if it is neuraled.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in this case, not the case.
Okay, Xena still is kind of just throwing everything it has unit by unit. The trades really are still phenomenal for Zozo, despite having a friendly Tempest shooting at it. As Xena's kind of just sandbagging this. We've seen 6,100 resources lost to 15,000 just for a look into the incredible cost efficiency. A Viper goes into abduct, sort of solo mission. That doesn't work out too well. The other Tempest has been released by the Infestors, and now Xena needs to make a big defense happen. It lands a good fungal growth.
Yeah, just not really committing enough here. Keeps going in, particularly with melee units. Once melee units are in contact, they can't retreat.
No.
Like they're there. They should be committed.
Yeah, Xena's supply is falling, whereas Zozo's is slowly climbing. And the red Zerg is just kind of running out of steam here, it seems. They're still Infestors burrowed underground, but I guess they don't have the energy they need. There's a fungal that may help a Stalker or two get picked off. Drones are being pulled into the fight. There is a world in which Xena survives long enough that Zozo runs out of steam, but as I say that, I realize Zozo has got up a fourth base.
Yeah, definitely keeps the economy going for a bit longer. But yeah, Xena has so many bases that you can lose a couple and not have too big of a problem. It really is down to how well is this. The gateway has been the stability, but the Tempests have been building up in the air more and more, and there's actually a mothership on the way now as well.
Yeah, mothership is a bit of a flex at this point from Zozo. Xena's down to 90 supply, and Zozo, I think, has been able to pull this one back, as I just don't see Xena suddenly trading better and fighting back with 90 supply.
Yeah, and in a weird way, despite the neurals kind of being cool, I think they would have been potentially better off just fungaling more.
Yeah, the fungals would have been good. I think the thing that just went wrong was Xena fought with like half its army at first.
Yeah.
Then the Lings went in afterwards for some reason, which doesn't make a ton of sense. But Yeah, great redundancy by Zozo. The fact that it was able to come back off of 9 workers, build up a Stargate army, clear out all that creep, take a third base, and then eventually win with this composition was really incredible. Well done.
Yep, indeed. Quite resilient. And again, I think it is just kind of the presence of a unit like that can just cause such strange behavior on the other side. Whereas if it was gateway only, then it probably doesn't engage like that.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
yeah.
And that's like Xena never does go into corruptors. That's like its one weakness in its macro. At some point, you do kind of want corruptors against mass sky toss, but also the Viper, like we saw it just go in and abduct when there's no units around.
Yeah, tried to grab a warp prism, and that was not really your issue at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Xena's got incredible macro for a random bot, but it does fall a little short when dealing with something as, I guess, tedious to deal with as Tempest, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a hard one to go. It's, again, one of those ones that you have to commit. Like, one of the few players that has really coded specifically for it is like Ketroc, which determines at a certain Viking count to just YOLO it. That I have to go, and we're just going to commit and go until these all die. And I think having the retreats coded in is, a big part of the problem, because it arranges. Yeah.
I that's one of like the biggest problems in bots. Like when you think of a bot being a bot and derping out, it's in situations like that, which like having a retreat micro is okay. It's just worse when your bot flip flops. You need to have some sort of like cooldown or expanding logic that your bot will
These are still on creep. Yeah,
take trades.
Okay. Is this army ever going to move?
I don't know.
I think Xena is potentially falling into our TKO rules of it's not actually performing, like it's not mining, it's not building, it's not performing in action. So yeah, I think so. It has been TKO'd on that. So we had that happen a lot more in some of our earlier seasons, but it still pops up now. But we had to put in rules that are like, if one bot's still working and the other one has stopped doing anything productive, then 5 minutes and it's TKO'd.
That's a good rule for sure.
Yeah.
As I mean, come on, we all know Xena could have come back from that.
Yeah, of course. So who knows? So we're at 1-1. Yeah. So pretty interesting. So same basic approach from Zozo, but obviously very different results based on the race and based on what we discussed in like the first game, that this makes a lot more sense if you're absorbing a cheese and then counterattacking. This time that's what happened. So it did make a lot more sense there, even though a lot of damage was done. It wasn't that critical game ending damage because of the probe micro like you pointed out.
Yeah, so there may be a bit of mind games going on between these bot authors. I'm excited to see what build they'll bring out next, as that has a big effect on the game. We are going into Interloper for our final map in this best of 3. The winner moves on. The loser will fall down into that lower bracket and have to keep fighting to make it to the round of 8.
Very true. And again, let's see. I kind of hope we get the Protoss versus Protoss this time, just to get all 3. Let's see what we spawn with. Let's hop in.
And
no, but interesting.
Xena. Zozo.
Xena rolls Terran in game number 3, and it did say it's going for the same build because, well, it worked in game number 1.
Yeah, makes sense to do. We'll see how she plays out. Again, it's just the way that the economy gets rolling, maybe a little too slow for Zozo on this. That I think would be a relatively easy fix, but you'd have to have that detection in of like, am I getting cheesed or not? And then if I'm not, then do this one instead.
I agree. I mean, another option would just be for Zozo to actually attack. Like, there definitely would have been a window
Yeah.
in game number 1 where if Zozo had moved out, it potentially could have won. So who knows? Maybe it'll get more of a scout. Like, it's still got its probe in Xena's base. It's still looking around. And yeah, if Zozo decides to attack, there is a world in which it can potentially kill Xena before it reaches that disgusting Terran 15 barracks production
Yes.
macro.
Certainly a possibility. We'll see what the buildup looks like. Here is again the shield battery at the wall, as was foretold.
The good old safety battery.
Yeah. Everyone loves a good battery. I mean, I miss the days of the mothership core.
Oh gosh.
Of course.
Don't bring up that evil. Maybe that's what we need to bring back to fix StarCraft, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just the only hero unit for no reason.
I mean, it was interesting. It would have been interesting to see, like, bots in this day and age go for some mothership cheeses sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mothership core pylon rushes.
Yeah. It's always been the case that, like, the early game of Protoss has always been like, yeah, we know you're dying to this. Instead of making your stuff better because we can't, here's nonsense.
Pretty much.
That's always been the thing. And it's always been, here's nonsense that you can only use defensively. And then the immediate Protoss response is, try and use it offensively, you say?
Yes.
And
build
then
a nexus in my opponent's base, you say?
Exactly. That's always what we do. And it works.
Yeah, it's interesting. Personally, I like the new patch with the Phoenix. That's going to give reactive bots a lot of an advantage, I suppose, because those hallucinated Phoenix that they can throw out nonstop in the latest patch is just, it's unlimited information basically.
Yeah.
So if you want to build a reactive bot, that's definitely something to look forward to on the new patch.
Yeah, definitely a nice one. Pick up information. That's one thing that I think is often underestimated with the Zerg bots is just the creep sped being as good as it is by like 8 minutes into the game is just a 100% map reveal.
Yeah.
And that's just such a difference to what the other bots are doing where they're having to guess everything.
Yeah, and that can really mess with just, well, like a creep tumor is like a building, right? So it can really mess with your opponent's bot's pathing if they want to kill those, or it can cause so many headaches for your opponent. So good creep spread is something to program into a bot. That's something I'll do someday.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, so things kind of developing slowly here, but similar to we had in game one. And I think, overall relatively similar in terms of worker counts and kind of where we are, with the armies being relatively even at this point, but just no aggression coming from Zozo for like a while still.
Yeah. And there's that third from Xena. I'm not sure if like it's as quick of a third as the previous game, but it probably is. And Zozo just getting up its natural base. I mean, there always is things that can change, even though it's the same build, it seems. Yeah. Like we could have Xena take a bad path when it goes to attack or something.
Yeah,
Fourth base from
Yeah.
Xena as it double expands. I don't know if we had that in game number 1.
Yeah, I don't know if it was quite that aggressive either, economically. So we'll see. Anything that buys a little bit more time maybe helps Zozo out on its side, because it's just for
Oh my
like,
gosh.
yeah, okay, nice. Yeah, it feels like it's lollygagging its way to the Tempest.
Oh, absolutely,
Like
yeah.
it's just not, yeah, crisp. Like if you're gonna one base this, it has to be direct. Um, yeah, but again, the thinking maybe I absorb something then counterattack. But then if even if that is really the thinking of I absorb a cheese and counterattack, you can kind of counterattack with anything in
Yeah.
in a lot of cases. Because if you just absorb the cheese and then just do it with any amount of army supply, you don't need to usually get too fancy about it.
Yeah, it's kind of just like that middle of the like overly safe thing.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Protoss. It's almost playing like BenBot.
Yeah.
When BenBot, like, it's got the slowest macro out of the best Terran bots.
Yeah.
And yet it just relies on getting up to that late game composition. And that's exactly what Zozo is doing here. Like, it's playing it overly safe. It's not rushing up, but it's just hoping it can make it to that composition. Unfortunately for it, Xena is probably the greediest of the bots when it's playing macro Terran, and so it just builds up way, way quicker. Like, if Zozo was doing this against a Terran bot, I don't know, any other Terran bot that might be expanding a little bit slower, like, it would probably get up to a bigger army quick enough, but it's just Xena is already at 140 supply, 76 workers, dropping mules like mad, building ghosts.
Yeah.
It's very impressive what Xena does here.
Yeah, and the ghost was super effective in the first game, like just ripping the shields off absolutely everything.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how effective they'd actually be, but they were very good.
So yeah, move out timing, we'll see. I don't think it was at fully maxed when it moved out in game 1.
Yeah, I think it was about 9 minutes that it poked
Yeah.
out in game 1. And we're getting close to that. Xena is on 5 bases. It's bringing in over 4,000 minerals a minute, which is not possible without mules. And 6, 7 barracks building at a time. Tons of production. Zozo is attempting to go for a 4th base. And now it's moving out to try and defend it, so we'll see. Can Zozo potentially kite back against it? But we see EMP go down. This is 1-1 bio, just melting these stalkers. The Tempest cannot kill Marines quick enough in order to really help out.
Yeah, and it barely looked like the stalkers were fighting. They were just in a disordered retreat, basically.
Yeah. I mean, the battery overcharge is pretty good. Probes are being pulled. Zozo's probes are good, but I don't know if they're that good.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Tempest can't even one-shot these Marines with combat shields, so.
Yeah, indeed. There's a walkover. The Tempest may still be alive at the end of the game. It doesn't really
It might
matter.
be, yeah. There's 2 out, but again, that's not enough, and just Xena's timing is, it's a maxed out Terran 9 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
And Zozo is dead. It's safe to say. Well done by Xena. Great build choice against Zozo. Yeah, it will move on.
Yep, indeed, as we get the last stream of red units coming to kill everything off. And Zozo will be dropped to the losers. Xena into our round of 8.
Okay, GG.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't already and you enjoyed these games, click that like button on the stream, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment if you're just watching like the VOD or whatever. Yeah, leave a comment. It all helps out with the YouTube algorithm and spreads the good word of bots.
That's it. Everyone loves engagement.
Yes,
That's
engagement. That's the word. If you're a CEO, engagement.
Exactly. It's actually, I'll bait the engagement. You guys should really partake in the engagement. and I pronounced that correctly, and anyone should comment if I didn't for some reason. People do that.
Yeah,
It works.
Just,
It works.
Just try and bait.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, just say something really inflammatory. Be like, yeah,
Yeah.
Protoss bots are Protoss is the weakest race, guys.
Yeah, that's
We
it.
should buff Protoss.
There's like a history channel I watch that always pronounces, well, he just said, whenever he means to use the word dissent, he says there was dysentery in the ranks. And
Oh my
but
God.
he says it every video. So every video you can tell who the new viewers are because they all comment like, it's not dysentery, you idiot.
Oh, that's hilarious. It's classic rage bait. But,
Yeah.
We are getting the replay of this great series.
Yeah.
I mean,
See, it could have been overrate there, but yeah, the Pro Micro really did save it on this. But yeah, usually once lings get in like that and they're just voluntarily let in, it's a lot more trouble.
yeah, and this was a great comeback from Zozo in game number 2.
Yeah.
Like, this is exactly what it wants to do with this style. Just Xena was able to prevent it from doing this in game number 1 and 3.
Yeah, very, very much so. And yeah, you can kind of see once you do get the Tempest numbers up with enough gateway, it's just hard to engage into it. And I think just the locations of a lot of this stuff was just super bad. Like, you wanted,
Thunderbird.
yeah, it's the map. Like, there's the middle section, then there's these sections with the rocks that, again, I just think it does something in the AI where it's like, yeah, the army is 5 feet over there, but the actual path to them is this like 50 feet around the path up a ramp thing that it can't resist doing, and then the army just doesn't work properly.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how that engagement would play out on different maps.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Xena, a very solid bot all around. I mean, it's a phenomenal tournament contender here.
Is for sure. Yeah, and you can see there was a lot of the infestors and stuff back here, but yeah, I feel like used a lot of their energy already on the Tempests, whereas fungals like that would have been more helpful potentially. But yeah, hard to turn the tide on this once it really got rolling.
Yeah,
and this replay is basically just the whole game again.
I have seen this sort of same thing play out between Zozo and Xena on Thunderbird, but I can't recall seeing it on any different maps either. So that is something that I would really like to see. And then again, we just have to see Xena's incredibly scary Terran macro, showing us exactly what bots can do if left to their own devices.
Indeed, the final push in, and yet no shield battery can save you at that point. And there we have it. So I think we are jumping to a 5-minute break, and we'll be back with match 3 and 4 of the evening. So don't go anywhere. Stick with us. And again, great time to hit like or subscribe.
Great, yeah. Click like and subscribe. Get a drink, and we'll be back in just 5 minutes. We've got Changeling versus BenBot, followed up by negativeZero versus Ketroc.
Season 1, Day 4, Number 2, Part 2. And I'm back with the casters and the sword and laughing games. Gentlemen, we had some fantastic games. That Zozo and Xena game, geez, actually thought it was gonna go a different way. To be honest, I thought it was gonna be TO, but Xena taking it back.
Yeah, definitely thought we'd get more cheese out of both of them. We really only got one cheese build in one of the games, and yeah. So definitely a variation there, but yeah, cool ones to see.
Like you said, the best way for a cheese bot to do well is just to macro.
Yep.
So here we are, part 2. So before we even get started, the casters reminded you earlier, but like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. But more importantly, if you want yourself to try ProBots, get a bot together in less than 30 minutes, you can get yourself in the description a template. And you can get yourself started in a bot. But actually, also another thing to note as well, every 2 weeks, I do a newsletter as well, sort of updating on the stuff that we do in ProBots, stuff going on in the community. Interesting. I don't know if anyone has noticed, but there's like this really cool extension out there that lets you do your actually watch your replays of your bots right in your IDE while you're coding. So there are a lot of these cool things that come up in the community. Shout outs to Stefan for making that. Really active community of people who are out there to build the tools to help make these bot making a lot easier. So in my newsletter, I cover some of those items, as well as things that I learn as I build my own bot, and upcoming episodes of my other series, Bits of Code. And yeah, all that's in the description for you, easy peasy. One day Industry will get a bot. I don't know when that will be.
Maybe it will be after I subscribe to the newsletter and catch up on how the bot. I always say, whenever someone uses the word newsletter, I think of extremist political views, but I don't think that's what's in it.
I promise you.
No, it's not like, here's how to code a bot and here's my nationalist tendencies.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
It's more like, this is how to code a bot, and like, this is how certain things are like super confusing and could be simpler if we did it like this. So like this week that's coming up, I'm going to be writing about A-star pathfinding, which is, it's pretty basic. Like, I would say, like, StarCraft itself is based off of that kind of pathfinding, but bot makers will often tweak their own kind of pathfinding just because you want a little bit more refinery, or you want to be, maybe you want to be a little bit more precise with how your bot moves. We've seen, oh my god, is it 12 Pool Bot who has like the really weird movement with his Zerglings?
Yeah, where they just are constantly swarming amongst each other.
Yes, and that's they're using, I want to say, Dijkstra in terms of their algorithm for, or their pathfinding method.
Yes.
So you can be a little bit more strange with how your bot moves by breaking away from the original movement in the game, or the engine method. So I talk about some of that stuff and also very recently I just did a talk on bots at a conference. So that was pretty cool.
It's fun.
But let's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm doing an AI talk next month, but not.
About bots?
I usually sneak in something about our bots, but more generally.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I totally like.
Yeah, crime related.
These bots are.
Oh, that's what I do. But I always mention this because it's an adversarial system.
Yeah.
Because like the financial crime world, it now has bots detecting other bots. Because people use bots to try and commit fraud and stuff like that. So you need bots to try and pick up that stuff.
Well, my talk was about how these bots can be used for QA testing for video games. So like, bots are making it into every parts of our world and our facets of our lives. So, crime, video games, same thing actually, really.
Very, very similar.
Yeah. So why don't we take a look at the brackets and see where we have to go?
Yep. So how did we get here? Changeling beating Aeolus 2-0. Yeah.
What's that other bracket? Did someone already win?
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know if that's right or that's a carryover for the last one that was also wrong. I think that's a carryover for the last one.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we had the Xena whatever and that's one before. Then BenBot beating a Phantom Bot in a nice 2-0 as well. So I think that's going to be a pretty interesting one. So Changeling, yes, the author of Eris and Phobos and Deimos, and this is now basically they've merged into one unholy hydra of a creature, which now changes. Thus the very clever name. And BenBotBC, also a clever name. It's a bot that makes PCs, but it does other things now too.
You know what it reminds me of, Changeling? It reminds me of like I don't know if any of you guys ever watched the old Transformers G1, when like Constructicons or other.
Yeah.
They just form one giant like.
Oh yeah, like the Voltron style.
Yeah. Devastator.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm.
They built a Devastator.
Yeah.
They just merge into Changeling.
That just became a trope that is like there's a whole genre of things that are 5 things merged into one bigger thing. That's how the Power Rangers and stuff work too. But and I think the Power Rangers are literally just an exact copy of like Voltron, where everything had its own color, and then it merged into one thing. It was something like that. But yeah, that's just a whole genre of thing.
Why don't we bring and talk about some predictions for this second half? And we'll start with you, Laughing Games predictions.
Oh, putting me on the spot. I thought we were going to go left to right.
No, that's why
we did that in the first half.
Oh,
we
okay,
switched sides on the second half.
I mean, it's so interesting with the Changeling because, like, BenBot versus Eris, you say Eris wins. BenBot versus Deimos, probably Deimos wins. BenBot versus Phobos, it's like BenBot might win that one. So it's like, it's so difficult to call. I think it's probably going to be a 2-1 either way, and I'll say Changeling wins.
Ender Sword?
I think Changeling should have been named the 3-body problem. Because you've got 3, like that just would have worked really well.
Oh my god! You know what? That's true.
You know what I mean?
Named after planets.
Yeah, because exactly. It's the exact thing. 2 of them are even in the same orbit around Mars, so it could have worked.
Yeah.
But whatever. So missed opportunity maybe, but yeah, Changeling's cool. I don't know. I kind of have a similar assessment though of like it depends what matchup we specifically get for this, because I also agree like 2 out of 3 of them I don't think is debatable, and then the other one is. So yeah, we'll see what we get.
Like it's so difficult to predict though, because like since the creation of Changeling, it seems that the authors of Eris and Team Eris have been like experimenting more as well, like adding in cheesy builds into their random bot, like, and then of course BenBot's a bot that's had so much work put into it, like it gets better and better every time you look at it. It has beaten Eris, it has beaten Deimos, and it has beaten Phobos, so like, it's impossible to predict. They're just both incredible bots, and it's going to be good to watch.
Well, one thing we can say is BenBot has not won a ProBots yet. I have to say.
No, but made it very far a number of times.
Yeah, it's a top 8 for sure. It's just always short of that Kingmaker. So negativeZero versus Ketroc. What are we feeling now? We'll go backwards to you, Endershord.
So haven't seen a lot of negativeZero for a while now. It's been out of the tournament for at least a couple seasons and then coming back in. But when it was here before, it was just dominant. And a lot of it was things like the adept play and like just really clever control type stuff. I don't know how that scaled over time. And I think they've continued playing them on the ladder and stuff. So I don't know how others have responded to it. So my thoughts are negativeZero, but I don't know how it's really advanced.
I would say, and before I get your thoughts, Laughing Game, one thing is, to me is kind of like, I would call him like the hermit coder, because he like he's always kind of like, he disappears for a while and then comes back and he just dominates the entire ladder.
So just a coder. Really, as opposed to the super extroverted social.
You know
coders.
what? Actually, now that you mentioned it, okay, I retract my previous statement. Laughing Games prediction.
I mean, as far as a prediction goes, I think unless negativeZero bugs out, it's going to be a 2-0 for negativeZero. As like it's so good. It has won the SC2 AI tournament that we had a few months ago. Coming back looking incredibly good. And then, it's just got incredible unit control. The bot author actually wrote out like a little blurb in my Discord as far as how it works, and it's just such an incredibly intelligent bot.
Yes.
And Yeah, I could sing its praises for an hour if you guys want. So,
Well,
or we
save
can
that
just
for
watch it
we
work.
might
you
yeah.
just say it right in the middle of the game, so we'll do it. And so I will leave you guys. I'll let you guys before we go. Of course, obviously, you guys know, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, casters, take it away.
Yay, indeed we shall. So let's take a look at the stats, descriptions, attributes, if you will, of these bots.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so we have got a Python bot, Changeling, by Team Eris, the team that is behind some of the best bots in the scene. You have to love their portrait
Yes,
on that.
pretty reasonable.
I don't know if that's as accurate because
Not
like
as
I've got a
derpy.
soft spot in my heart for Phobos, but it definitely has been the underperformer of the three bots traditionally. It's actually ahead of Deimos on the ladder right now, so I don't know what happened to Deimos, but it fell off a bit of a cliff and lost a few games. So I don't know if they were testing some stuff or it might have been crashing or something. But yeah. Weaknesses depends what race Changeling spawns as, so the bot authors are aware that they have strengths and weaknesses. Built on the Ares framework, Changeling uses many features such as combat slash macro behaviors, placement, solver, build, runner, etc., not based on hard coded logic. Yeah, it's very very versatile and not a bot, not something that bugs out very often.
Exactly, and is the author team that objected to us ever using the term hard coded.
I wasn't aware of that, but that's incredible.
Yeah, we used to, I think, make a distinction in the learning method as is it hard coded or is it machine learning? And of course, those are not opposites.
No.
Yeah. So wasn't quite good way to do it. Yeah, BenBot side by Ben. Yeah, tries to get to late game with a lot of BCs, but there's a lot more facets to this now. So I think this was true originally, not so much anymore. Yeah, weaknesses to Mass Thor and Tempest, basically the counters to BC. But there is a lot more to its behavior now. It can like bunker rush. It can do a lot more mid game things, which kind of helps it get there. And then it will choose build orders selectively. So it knows some bots that it's not going to try and cheese against. Even its bunker rush isn't really ever all in. It's a very light sort of thing that can sometimes work and win games, but it's never a full commitment. And yeah, it's old now.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's old now.
It's and it's BenBot's just gotten better and better as time goes on. We will be getting into our first game pretty soon here, but can sing its praises a little bit more. Like you said, its opening is phenomenal. That bunker rush, it does it pretty much every game, I think.
Yeah.
Or like even
it
sometimes
knows specific bots I think that it doesn't work against and it just won't do it, but then it mostly will. And it's not a commitment.
And it rarely gets shut down incredibly hard from what I've seen. Like there's times in which it doesn't get a lot of damage done, but then it just macros behind it. So it
does whatever.
It's probably one of the most effective bot openings.
Changeling. BenBotBC.
Right. So BenBot and Changeling both have had updates published since the last time they played, which is very cool to see. There is the potential for some snipes, something like that, or just general improvements. Rarely a few days goes by that I look at BenBot's profile and it hasn't been updated.
Indeed. So one of the updates actually listed here is that there is new TVT openings. So that may be relevant for this game. That's for Changeling. has added that, then some bug fixes, and then said not even tested on last season's map, so we hope it works. So we'll see on that one. On the BenBot side of things, there have been minor improvements to help against negativeZero, so that may be coming up in the future. And Eris specifically, less Vikings, and random in general. So an enemy-based scout to deal with random and I guess determine what you're up against.
Yeah, so BenBot not trying to proxy a bunker
Yeah.
against a random opponent, which is
Makes sense.
probably a wise decision.
Yeah.
And we do have a second Rax finishing up for it. So double Rax opening from BenBot. And yeah, you've got to love that these bot authors have put in the work to update their bots, eyeing up this series in particular, as both of those they've both had changes specifically for this series. Changeling maybe going to have some better TVT, and BenBot maybe going to do better against Eris or just random in regards to how it opens up.
Indeed. Here we get the expansion coming for Changeling. And BenBot with its classic bunker on its side, which will usually reinforce with Widow Mines and a turret and eventually a second bunker and other fun stuff like that.
Okay, we do have Changeling moving out with a couple of Reapers. Automaton isn't the best map for Reapers, but I believe BenBot hasn't completed that wall off yet, as that factory and supply depot do have quite a large gap in it still. So one Reaper makes it into the main. A Marine is in pursuit. That Reaper almost gets an SCV, but not quite, as it's just a nice scout from Changeling. Tosses a grenade, bounces some SCVs.
Hellion slipping in here. A Hellion on the defensive side here as well. Can he shut down this SCV building? It does. So we'll delay that a little bit, but another one is right there.
Yeah, great redundancy by BenBot to get that close SCV to resume building that command center. Marines are very slow chasing down this Hellion, as BenBot's own Hellion went across the map, it seems. And yeah, Phobos seeding a little bit of chaos.
Yeah, could be a little worse. There was Reapers just kind of stuck in places that weren't really helping. And this Hellion deciding not to quite take advantage of its of its situation.
There's just such a big pocket inside the base of Automaton. It's like, oh, this is a good place to hang out, I guess. And yeah, we did see from Changeling's notes that it hasn't been tested on these maps. It is a bit of a challenging position for bot authors who want to develop snipes for this tournament, as a lot of them are working on the next update, the next patch that's coming, and not all updates they make are going to be backwards compatible and work perfectly. So that is another thing that these bot authors have to take into account. But so far, everything seems to be going quite well for both of them. No major blips or anything like that.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, repelling that, but there were definitely several SCVs that died in that, which you can kind of see a reflection of in the worker counts at this point. So yeah, 4 of them were killed. And yeah, didn't delay a lot of the building time, but still just picking off the units is nice.
Yeah, we have BenBot trying to saturate up that natural. No orbital command at that natural yet. Just building up lots of bio. This is where BenBot kind of goes against its name, in that, like, it's not rushing to BCs in this game. It's just building up a healthy amount of bio early on, which could be very useful for it, as Changeling, I want to say Phobos, which it pretty much is a bot that likes to go for timing attacks with tanks and Vikings, and it does seem to be building to that. And having a good amount of bio to potentially pounce on such a move out could be very good for BenBot.
Yeah, definitely. If he's built up enough, and it has always been a progression away from the rush to BCs to just eventually getting BCs when it's comfortable. Because originally it was designed to get right to them pretty much as quick as possible in and then just teleport the BC across to the opponent's mineral line.
Yeah.
And that either won or did a lot of damage, and then you go from there. But then over time, you then build up, well, I need to do this to defend and live long enough, and I need to do this to stay alive, and I need to do this to whatever. And it's eventually gotten to the point that early buildup is a lot, like that's winning a lot of the games. So Changeling is moving out with a fairly decent army here. The Air Force will spot things sooner, but there is they can catch things out of position here.
Now the pathing on Automaton is just such a nightmare as BenBot sends its army the wrong way. We did have the scene change there.
Yeah, so. I think we lost. Okay, here we go. We missed the first part of the engagement, but either way, you flanked them from the low ground here. Unfortunately for BenBot, didn't get right on the tanks themselves.
No.
But the rest of the bio coming from the natural.
Yeah, BenBot popped some of its units out of those bunkers. It's skirmishing now. By engaging earlier, it did force the tanks to siege further back, which is good. But at the same time, just bio does get whittled down by tanks, and we are seeing Changeling poke on in. BenBot isn't contesting the Viking count. It's got no hope of possibly doing that. And there's nothing to stop Changeling just pushing on in here slowly.
Yeah, eventually these few bio units will have to retreat back to the bunker line itself, but then the vision, as you're alluding to, is in favor of the Viking owners.
Yes, now we've got BenBot trying to build a Viking, but that's not exactly going to help a ton. Changeling does throw a lot of its bio away into the bunkers, and BenBot sends some of its Marines out, but it still has yet to get on top of those tanks. If it, say, pulled the SCVs and the Marines to dive on top of these tanks, that would shut it down, as there's not much to buffer for them. But, oh, BenBot loses a command center that was trying to float over to the third base, and it's still not shutting down these tanks. So it's in a lot of trouble here, and it just doesn't seem to have a definitive response to tanks that are inching up on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with the vision advantage, it's always going to be in the favor of kind of the person with that, obviously, to make the slow move forward. And you're getting things just kind of on the edge of things, which is going to help take out some of the burrowed widow mines and stuff that can't actually be seen but get hit by splash damage. And there goes a turret as well. So just units up front here now.
Yeah, there's a world in which I think BenBot is able to potentially defend this, but the fact that it's also lost its third base behind this needlessly is very, very painful, because Changeling has got 4 bases up behind this.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's now just sieging in. The bunkers of BenBot are gone. SCVs are pulled to the front lines because there's nothing else for them to do. But BenBot's just doing that wavering thing we see from bots, where they're afraid to attack, and it's just being whittled down.
Yeah, it'll just be up to Changeling to move in at this point, and I think we're going to get a little... No, I thought we were going to get a move forward. They're just going to re-siege exactly where they were. But yeah, there will be some whittling. Okay, that could have helped a tiny bit. It at least pushes the army back.
Oh, an attempted
here's
drop.
A drop. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I was wondering why they were going back there. That makes sense.
Yeah, BenBot responding to that. Oh no, another command center into the Vikings. Okay, it does turn around, but
yeah, it won't help.
Yeah, it's gone too far already.
Okay. The drop gets cleaned up. Drop gets cleaned up by the turret, and yeah, he's in safety. He repairs it.
Scan from Changeling. BenBot is moving forward with the bio as one of the tanks is unsieged. It's trying to break this, baiting Changeling into its own tank fire and then falling back is quite good, as the ground buffer of Changeling does die. Marauders are working away on that one final tank, and the tank line does get broken by BenBot.
Yeah, a big portion of this army is in the air at the moment, as will come into play yet again. This time he's okay. Yeah, he's going to retreat. Well, will he get that away yet again? Single Viking coming out to defend to be a hero. Two of them actually in burning, but may repair.
Yeah, BenBot's still in a very precarious position. It had a slight victory there, but I mean, Changeling is 4 bases. You're just gonna have to accept I'm gonna do that all game.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just got a very good position right now. If it adds in a few more tanks, which it's doing, it's got double tank production going, even adding in a 3rd factory. Like, there's a reason why Terrans have been doing this push for 15 years now.
Here comes the CC again.
Oh no, don't do it, Command Center. And it turns around. Maybe next time.
Again. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be clear next time. Tanks getting back in position. They're a little more forward now. They're able to attack that high ground if they get vision.
Yeah. Phobos is maxed out. 2-1 upgrades. It's just got way more production than its opponent. It's taking all the bases. I think it's just going to be a slow death here for BenBot.
We've actually had BenBot completely pull off gas. I'm not sure why.
BenBot's got very good gas economic management in that if it is floating one resource, it will rebalance.
And yeah, so there's the final push in and cleanup.
So, BenBot loses the TVT.
So
GG.
at least Changeling's TVT opening apparently does work.
Yeah.
For the most part.
That, it pretty much just did the same push that their Terran bot has been doing for years at this point. And it's a great counter to BenBot because bunkers and tanks cannot deal with tanks and Vikings. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, for sure. You get anytime you've got like static defense, it's really down to range on everything. And if their range is longer, then the static defense doesn't really mean much. So it does get taken out. We're going to be moving to Abyssal Reef for game number 2. And again, Changeling's race may completely change. But I think that's the one that we thought was maybe the closest. But like you said, there are definitely instances where it's beaten Eris and Deimos in the past. So it's not a foregone conclusion or anything. Let's see what we get out of this. Since BenBot does specifically mention scouting against random and stuff, I don't know that we're going to get the bunker openings in any of these, but we'll see.
Yeah, which is a bit of a weakness because if it doesn't get that nice opening that it always builds its macro upon, maybe it is just going to be in a bad position every game against Changeling.
Yeah, let's jump in and find it.
Changeling. BenBotBC.
So there's that SCV scout from BenBot. Meanwhile, Changeling going for its own SCV scout.
They'll pass each other there.
Oh, maybe not.
No.
Oh, okay.
Doing something. I don't know.
Does time out there, which is good to see.
Stuck on a bush. Yeah, I think is scouting specifically for the proxy locations that are often used for the bunker rush. So good to check those. You'll see a lot of bots do that. They do a routine scout around their 3rd, their 4th, any kind of known sneaky areas before moving out across.
Yeah, it's very common in the best spots to scout that out.
Yeah, quite prudent indeed. Although we often see in a number of bots that they'll scout something even by accident and just not respond to it in any way. but some do have definitely responses coded in.
Okay, looks like we will be getting a bunker at the front for BenBot once again. As always, maps can drastically change the success of an opening. It's not really per the schedule, but ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to support ProBots, there is the YouTube membership program. You can check that out with the join button just down by the subscribe button.
Exactly. It's there. And maybe
it is there.
You
click
you
the button,
can,
see what happens.
Yeah. It's fun. And you can read a newsletter. And Draken would like you. So a Reaper hopping up in.
Oh,
And
Marine
two
placement.
Marines. Yeah. Yeah, if you could shut down a little bit of the damage that was done in the last push, which was like 4 SCVs, but early in the game, that matters a fair bit when you're even.
Now, that one Reaper, it wants to go for that main base. Oh, and it clears the path for the other one, but does it commit? No, it doesn't.
Won't go up.
And those Marines are working overtime. They do actually catch and kill one of those Reapers. Second Reaper makes it into the main, but BenBot, that's not a complete wall. No, it's not yet.
No.
That building placement must actually be off a little bit because there's no way that gets fully walled now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a little odd.
Because that is something BenBot does a lot of the time, which is go for...
Put the trap.
It's very, very consistent in that, but it's not perfect on every map. We've got Hellions skirmishing now. BenBot is outnumbered 2-1. Another Reaper almost goes down. It doesn't, though. SCV's transferring to
that could be really bad.
Bunker. Oh, no. As BenBot loses 2, maybe 3 SCVs. If all these Hellions go down, that might minimize some of the damage, but this is still very painful. And it does get cleaned up. Is there a Reaper in the main base, or has that been handled? Just one jumping around still.
Yeah.
4 dead SCVs, though.
Yeah, I was going to say just prior to that Hellion sneak in, this went a lot better, but that changes things at the last second.
Like, I know it's not going well for BenBot, but you really do have to sing its praises. Like, it's doing a great job of hunting down these highly mobile units with its slower Marines and Hellion. It doesn't quite get that. Oh, it does.
It does. Nice.
Okay, so that's nice. But still, BenBot has not been consistent on that SCV production, as it is lower.
Yeah.
So, or it might have actually been consistent and it just lost them.
It lost 4, but then it's still 4 more behind that. So
yeah. And it is only producing 1 right now, as it's getting that later orbital command. And I feel like Changeling will probably just build into the same thing. And I'm not sure how that's going to be any different. We do see Blue Flame from BenBot. That's one of its more quirky things to go with its sort of early bio. But we are getting a Viking and a tank earlier on from BenBot in this game. I don't think we got a Viking this early in the previous match.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I'm also just thinking of how the positioning is going to play out differently. So where we ended up with a protracted siege outside the natural, outside those bunkers, this time the command center, which kept floating to its demise, will float the other way, down to a third, and should actually be able to land and keep an economy going. So that's potentially positive. And then anytime there's a ramp and a choke like this, it's just a wildly different game.
Abyssal Reef is generally a pretty good map for BenBot.
Yeah.
And we'll see if it can keep that going. It's even getting high-sec auto tracking as Changeling builds an armory randomly out on the map.
Yeah, that's interesting, but sure. Why not?
Okay. So BenBot almost loses its Viking, but does pull that back. High-sec auto tracking could be useful because turrets can help zone out those Vikings.
Yeah, and the Viking high ground vision will definitely be a big part of any push-up.
fusion core for BenBot. We didn't get that in the previous game, did we?
No. Yeah, we never get to that point. That's always where it wants to go, but we didn't get there.
Now, I mean, not that battle cruisers are necessarily going to be the answer to this, but it's still a development compared to the previous game that went very poorly. The worker counts are quite even right now, but BenBot still has to stop this scary push of Changeling. Changeling is so good when it comes to controlling its Vikings and just providing the vision for the tanks, nothing more really. Vikings are skirmishing with the one Viking of BenBot. But, okay, now Changeling is actually going up and around, it seems, with some of those units.
That is interesting. I think that's... I feel that that's worse.
Yeah, I'm not...
But it may work out because the third is floating there, and I was saying that's one of the benefits here. So if he goes around, it may pick that up. But I just feel like it's harder to come in through a choke like that.
BenBot does have 3 Vikings, make that 2 as it loses one, which is quite painful for the Blue Terran. It's got the resources to fire up a battle cruiser potentially. Will we get that? No, we get an extra Viking, likely in response to the Vikings of Changeling. Now, there is that third base on location for BenBot. A turret has been built. There is a Widow Mine still being produced. Like, BenBot's doing a good job dragging this out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that is the key. Even though, like, Changeling's continuing the economy on its side as well. The worker counts are actually now in BenBot's favor. Army supply is still not.
My one complaint for BenBot in this game is that it's floating way too much money. It needs more production. It could easily have an extra starport or 2. It may just be hung up in some sort of loop where it's trying to defend and not going to progress further in the tech until then, which would be very bad because in no situation should your bot ever have 2,000 minerals.
For sure. I think it wants to make BCs, but it keeps making Vikings, so it's spending less in the amount of time.
It's very scared.
Yeah, the leapfrog up. There's fire.
Tank.
How's this going to go?
Gone. Tank's gone. The bunker is now gone as Changeling continues on with this push. The Viking count isn't bad for BenBot. However, its Viking control doesn't seem to be as good as it loses them continuously in a volley here and there. And it is providing vision for its tank to shoot down and kill one of Changeling's, which is nice. But we're still not seeing any production. The mineral count is rising. No new base being added. There's just nothing. BenBot is just trickling out units, and it's hung up, waiting probably for a defense condition that hasn't been met, if I had to guess.
Yeah, Changeling, though, is losing the tanks as they keep leapfrogging into this single tank's range.
Oh.
It has to back off this now.
Yeah, it actually backs off to regroup. Is this potentially going to allow BenBot to transition out of this? Doesn't look like it, as the Blue Terran is still just producing off its very small production. Come on, BenBot. Snap out of it, my guy.
Here's kind of a drop in yet again into the back of the natural here. This one doing pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, BenBot's down 21 army supply to the 82 of Changeling. It's just heartbreaking because it has defended. It's stayed alive and it could be thriving right now, but it's not building anything.
Yeah, exactly. Expanded production. Yeah, if you convert those minerals and gas to units, then it's a totally different game, obviously.
I'm guessing it's the presence of the Vikings of Changeling that are consistently keeping BenBot producing Vikings and not further expanding.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. So Changeling, looking for that sort of final push in now. The army supply is so low that it could be a very inefficient trade and it would still work.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally one tank defending this whole thing. Like, the bunkers are there, but they would go down very quick. There's a Widow Mine or 2 hidden in that pack, but it's the entire defense is within like a 3-foot radius.
Yes, it is. One Marine shooting these SCVs. See, we never even got a planetary at this third base, which implies that BenBot is just totally bugging out. It does randomly start building a tech lab and firing up Neosteel framing, so like that's the only progression. Okay, so now it
Okay,
wants to
here's
build
another.
BCs.
Yeah. Maybe it almost had to lose every one of its Vikings to be like, I'm not going to add to this anymore.
Yeah, now it's building a Raven, getting interference
Yeah,
matrix,
yeah.
but still no new tech. It's building a turret. It might have been the presence of the Banshee of Changeling because
Maybe,
Changeling just
yeah.
built a Banshee and that showed up. Okay, so maybe BenBot's not waking up.
It's doing things.
It just thrashed about a little bit upon seeing the Banshee. Okay, will it build a battle cruiser? Yes, it will. Battle cruiser tank, double armory, engineering bay. BenBot all of a sudden wakes up. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, this makes me very happy that it's not just going to lay down and die. The damage may have been done, though, as there's already this huge army on its door. That one tank is getting so many shots off.
Yeah, I think it's now just going to kind of like almost against its will go into the natural and eventually kill everything.
The Marines at the back are pushing the other ones forward like, come on, get in there. Oh, man. And that now the natural has been broken. The tank of BenBot that just popped out isn't sieging. The one battle cruiser will not be a hero, and we're even getting a fast forward, which means BenBot is officially dead. Out of curiosity, did it ever build a planetary at that third, or no? It made
went for Norval. Yeah. So yeah, there comes the cleanup. So yeah, Changeling will take it in a double TVT. So was correct in the prediction that it could land a third and get a better economy. The downside did not spend any of the money that it earned. So it was just a little pack rat.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate. Like, it eventually did wake up just a little too late, because if BenBot does macro up, it definitely can beat Phobos Changeling there. But unfortunately not.
Indeed. So we will go to our fourth match of the evening, which is going to be negativeZero against Ketroc. And yeah, I want to see negativeZero in this one. It was so dominant before and is kind of exploding back on the scene. But Ketroc, also a very methodical, thought out, and patient bot that does a lot of like pretty clever things, and often will find some clever solutions to. I feel like that's both Ketroc bot and Ketroc the person. It's everything's non-standard, everything's just thought out of like technicalities and how to do things in a slow, patient, interesting, and or cheesy way. So we'll see. Here are the attributes. We've got negativeZero, as mentioned, a champion in 2022 and 2023. Tries to react in the most optimal way to whatever the opponent is doing. I feel like that is just a general strategy for all games of any kind. Weakness is well-timed pushes, which, also kind of makes sense. Decision making. So uses AI to review code and make a summary of it. And a lot of the responses, it does a weighted decision making in target selection, in scoring enemy units, and tries to use factors on what to target. I guess that this goes longer, but we won't see it. But it does one of those things of like target priority, which is pretty important. 56,000 lines of code, I don't think is the biggest. I think our smallest is 286, whether it's in this tournament or last tournament. But I think the smallest we've seen was 12 pool bot with 286. But this one quite big. I think we have one at 106,000.
Yeah, maybe tier.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot in there, and coded in Go. So one of the few bots I think doing that. Ketroc is also a past champion. So safe, macro oriented, full of ravens, a lot of raven control, a lot of banshee control, often a lot of Vikings, very methodical. Yeah, aggression, harassment, and Eris, not a problem this time around, but that could probably just as easily say -0 for a lot of
I don't
people
know if
too.
that's been updated
Yeah,
since
yeah.
-0 came back.
Yeah.
Everything's coded from scratch. Yeah, Ketroc is a
Yeah.
incredibly diverse bot.
Yeah.
And the strategies and just the amount of thought that's been put into all the little strategies.
Yeah. Yeah, he's another one that will occasionally do coding on stream. So obviously he streams his own StarCraft 2 play, but he'll do coding streams where he's updating, testing the bot, stuff like that, which is always interesting. He's been streaming for since I've known him, since 15 years, pretty much. So
yeah,
cool guy.
and yeah, the cool thing about Ketroc streams is that he plays just like his bot.
Yeah, exactly. It's very much Ketroc bot is very much Ketroc bot. Yeah. If it could planetary fortress every game and float it in your main, it would.
I'm surprised it doesn't have that as a build.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think if he did in the past. He certainly uses planetaries at bases a lot. But yeah, it does a lot of his things that he does.
Okay, let's get into game number 1 here on Interloper.
Yeah.
-0. Ketroc.
So Ketroc calling out the strategy already, which is a strong bunker contain.
Yeah, now this is something that I think this is probably one of the most recent updates Ketroc has done to his bot. I think I might have seen him experimenting or something with this build. Maybe I'm wrong and totally out to lunch, but I think it's one of the newer developments, and -0 has been fallible to these kind of rushes in the past. It is probe scouting, but not identifying that cheeky barracks.
Indeed. Yeah, and Ketroc has done this sort of thing in the past, actually most notably to MicroMachine, specifically a bunker contain that was intended to keep Reapers in the base. So they were strategically placed at the Reaper jump out point and the natural, so that the Reaper would never actually run by it, which worked fairly well. So it was a very well-designed snipe. So if he's doing this sort of thing, then it's usually very target specific, that he knows the bot that this is meant to go, and that's a pretty aggressive one. That is a strong bunker contain.
Okay, now this is where the real strength of that comes from, in that we've got a factory on the way up for Ketroc.
Yeah.
And so he's going to fill the bunker and then reinforce it with tanks. And we see this tons from BenBot, but BenBot always builds the factory on his side of the map, and so it takes a lot longer for that tank to get there. So, and during that window, -0 usually breaks this. But that's not necessarily going to be an option. We have Ketroc trying to be as efficient and get that tank out as quickly as possible, has the add-on building on that barrack so it can be swapped. His bunkered Marines have the automatic behavior to attack those rocks, which is not good here on this map Interloper, because it's actually going to close the attack path for him and send his units on a horribly long journey around. And if that tank's gonna get out there before that gets broken. Otherwise, that's gonna just cripple this rush.
That will be
rocks
funny.
Die. Oh no, Ketroc, don't do this to yourself.
It's
gonna die.
Be close.
It's gonna die, and then this could be just horrendous.
I want him to actually crush the tank.
It might get that SCV.
Yeah.
Not
barely.
quite, but that tank is officially locked out. It might not even try to repad over there until it runs right into those rocks. It looks like it does turn around, but that is just not good from Ketroc. It might not be a big factor if -0 doesn't break this, but it is going to go for it, and is targeting down some of the SCVs, working on the bunker.
They're repairing themselves instead of the bunker. like selfish little guys.
Yeah, one stalker does fall to this. However, all the SCVs are gone now. And yeah, the tank rolls on up after the bunker dies.
It's like, oh, was I supposed to guard this?
Oh,
Like,
man.
Maybe if you guys bought a fidget spinner instead of shooting rocks behind you. Like, what are you doing? I think I get to. Once I saw that it also attacks the rocks at the bottom of the ramp.
Yeah.
I bet that's what it's designed to do, and then it just happens to be in range of the other things.
Yeah, they just attack like any idols, any neutral structure that's nearby. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Like the biggest example of self-sabotage in a bot game I've ever seen.
It's a hoisted on my own petard sort of thing. The bunker.
Poor Ketroc. Now, -0, I mean, it's still just on one base, but the very scary thing is that it could very well decide to attack, as -0 is a bot that has no problem being aggressive. I'm willing to... I'd put money on it that as soon as this Phoenix scouts out Ketroc's base, that -0 moves out for an attack.
Yeah, I mean, despite all that, which is kind of funny, with the amount of stalkers built up, that was only going to last another 20-25 seconds anyway. He probably was going to move out. That one tank being there maybe kills a couple more of these, but yeah, you get to a point that you're just kind of one-shotting the bunker down, you're one-shotting the tank down.
I mean,
but I don't know. It depends more the fear of the units. How many did they feel they need to kill?
Exactly, because like if the tank kills off a stalker, the math might change, and then all of a sudden it's a different game. But now we do have -0 moving out. It does actually find that factory, not going to, or it actually is going to go around and kill it off. Okay. So -0 goes and kills that off. One of the best things about -0 that makes it such a killer is that, and I believe the bot author has commented on it, is that it attacks every game step, so that basically the units will not move command ever and waste damage. They are always attacking, and that's what makes it just kill armies so quickly and take such good trades, because it's not busy over microing.
Yeah, that is something you see a lot in other bots, that they prioritize the movement, and then you get a lot of this dancing where shots are definitely wasted.
Yeah. Now, -0 isn't attacking on in. I'm unsure, and this is actually a question I had during a cast I had today, whether -0 has a sort of memory on where units are previously, because I ran into a situation casting it earlier. Now, this is very unfortunate.
That's it. It doesn't even remember it's shooting them right now.
Yeah.
so who knows? But
the only reason I said that was because like there was previously tanks in front of the planetary, and it was staying extra far back.
It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. And some do have that, because we see in a lot of bots the behavior of they go up a ramp, see units come down, immediately forget that they're there and go back up. And so you have to pretty much, as an author, try and code in something to stop that. But then you can overdo it, like your example of, well, there were units here. Do I assume they're there, even though I see the same unit up there?
And that is something that is a sign of a very advanced bot, that they'd even think to try and tackle that problem. Now, -0 does seem to be attacking on in, trying to break these tanks, and this is its crazy aggression, just marching forward. It's got the observer now, so it doesn't have to fear the banshees, but it does still turn away, afraid of walking near that planetary. And then it's also taking damage on its side of the map from those banshees. I think they may have been handled now, though. Yes.
So Ketroc is trying to expand to the third there. And we'll have to see what -0's progression is from this point. There is attacking, which is the banshees back home, which are kind of just being allowed to do their thing.
Yeah, there is another observer out for -0 to handle this, but the strengths of -0 are when it's attacking generally.
Yeah.
And Ketroc's kind of been flipping the script. It's been playing an incredible macro game by the fact that Ketroc's already on a third base. -0 is just building up its own third. It might even lose this Nexus, which would be catastrophic. Come on, -0, get in there and save that Nexus. Looks like it will be canceled, and the rest of the Stalkers show up a little too late. And the Banshees can just keep flying around. Looks like one does go down.
Yeah, the observers are in the right place and everything, but just not advancing here. The tank army moves forward, but there's only tanks there, so the Stalkers will get on top of them. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say leave one alive, but whatever.
Yeah, and that is the kind of impressive engagement that -0 often gets, like killing armies with way less losses than you'd think, because it just cleans things up so quickly. So it did handle those tanks very well. It is rebuilding that third base. At the same time, Ketroc is getting up a fourth and a fifth base on location, so -0 will either need to get some good damage done or just get some incredibly efficient trades until it's caught up on economy.
Very true. Catches the Cyclone out here, and just some stray units can definitely make a difference. Picking up the SCVs helps.
-0's army is gigantic compared to that of Ketroc, as these Stalkers are trying to chase down these Banshees, but they do see that base, which is yet to turn into a planetary. -0 does not have Blink yet. It, however, fires up a Stargate, so we may get Phoenix as a counter to these Banshees in the future.
Yeah, would certainly make sense. I think there is some opportunity here to just go into the natural still and try and maybe get behind the planetary. It's a bit of a risky maneuver. I don't know if it would ever conclude that, but these ones hanging around the edge base is definitely good. They're really hesitant to go in at the Banshees, and I don't know why so much.
There's no observer right now, which would be why.
But even the Raven, I would go grab if I could. But yeah, it would certainly don't want to take free damage. But yeah, where is your observer?
Yeah, there's 5 out, so there should be one there to help with this. But they may be getting pulled in different directions by something, as -0 tries to get aggressive, and it is.
Yeah.
So there's multiple demands placed on those observers, and the third base actually does fall. That is catastrophic for -0 losing that. There is a Phoenix that was just produced, which will help deal with these Banshees. And there's even an Oracle on the way to drop Revelations in the future, as -0 was thinking of the later game. But for now, it really just needs to get some work done with the units it has, because like it is very far behind economically now.
Yeah, I think that's another type of decision making that's hard to make, which is, okay, I don't have detection, so I don't want to walk into a place where my units take damage. But it's not like the Banshees are just chilling on the beach somewhere. They're doing damage.
Yeah.
So I'm not opting to take no damage. I'm opting what to take damage on, and it was on the third base.
It's true, yeah. Now, -0 is still poking on in. It's got its Stalkers being very active out on the map. Prism juggling these, and one of the great things that -0 does is target down SCVs before killing a planetary, so it will actually get some good damage done by knocking Ketroc down to 4 bases.
Yeah,
all
definitely.
the observers have gone down to scans from Ketroc.
Yeah, not ideal. Getting the Phoenix speed, I guess, here, and Tempest as well. But yeah, it needs to replace the detection, but maybe we'll try and do that with Oracles. But that's not usually the best long-term way to do that.
-0 is quite good with the Oracles usually for that detection. Grabs another tank, but oh man, the third base, once again, that Oracle needs to pop out as soon as possible. Oh dear. That is something Ketroc does very well too, is attack with the Banshees instead of like actually go for the Nexus. It's a big play, but it's working out in this case.
Yeah, and I mean, despite the fact that this feels like -0 is the one on the defensive, losing this again, insists on being on the offensive side.
Yes, it does. And man, oh man, what a good match this is. Ketroc now preparing to deal with the Tempest. negativeZero only produced 1. It's floating a ton of minerals right now. And it has just found that base at the 12 o'clock position, so maybe it'll eye that up in the future. For now, though, it's been struggling to keep an economy going as the Banshees of Ketroc are coming on in once again. The Oracle does reveal them, though, and that is really, really nice.
Yeah, are they going to be able to actually fully take them out, though? There's a single Phoenix chasing, but you kind of need to just jump on them. That's a good pickup.
Oh my gosh,
But,
again.
yeah.
Revelation gets dropped, though, to save the day.
All right, these Phoenix might finally get some pushback, but then there's just a ton of Vikings that have been...
Yeah, Ketroc's building
know.
8 Phoenix at a time this game.
Yeah.
9 Phoenix. 9 Banshees.
9 Banshees, yeah. Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a ridiculous amount, and that is an amount of Banshees that can potentially deal with the Stalkers of negativeZero.
Yeah.
Viking being hunted down. negativeZero is just about to have a third base once again. It does get Blink on the way finally. That is something negativeZero, I mean, uses like every Protoss bot, but it doesn't get it as quickly as you'd maybe like all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely would have been useful earlier on in this game to maybe save his third base once or twice.
+3 done on those Banshees. That's very nice.
Yeah, both of them with a pretty much mined out main now. So economy on negativeZero side certainly hurting.
Okay, we do get a cannon building for negativeZero at that Nexus, which is very important if it can actually finish up and potentially push this Banshee away.
Well,
Which,
but not in
it
time. Yeah.
does go down. Very cool that Ketroc's Banshees still kept attacking, even though the cannon finished up. A lot of bots, they'd say, oh, there's a cannon, I can't fight that.
Yeah, I think Ketroc in general is good at committing. Like, that's been a big part of things he's put in, is like, when do I attack a Spore? When do I attack a cannon? Yeah, what are the numbers I need? And stuff like that.
negativeZero not having detection. Loses the Nexus. Ketroc now BMing.
Yeah.
And maybe rightfully so. As those
Yeah.
Banshees do some work.
Yeah, it does feel at that point. It always is with the Cloaked Banshees. Once you catch that, like, 2 seconds where they don't have detection and you can just sit on the Stalkers, that's it. Like, they melt so fast when they're not firing back.
Yeah, I mean, negativeZero's trying, and it got close to coming back in this game, I think. But just Ketroc's Banshees hitting that third base again and again. It's an incredibly thought-out process by the Terran bot author to have the Vikings snipe the observers, and then the Banshees just go to town on everything on the ground, as it's incredibly well-designed. And yeah, Ketroc is going to take this one, I think.
Yeah, looks like it when this
5 command
third-
centers at a time.
Yeah. When this Nexus finally falls again, that's pretty much the end of any economy. And now we will get the fast forward. And we'll clean everything up again, slowly and methodically. Since the Banshees are really the only things that can attack.
Are we going to get a mule message from Ketroc?
That off the left. Yeah, we'll check the mini-map for a GG. It doesn't look like it.
GG.
No. There we go. So yeah, pretty good. And that was despite, again, the bunker not containing itself out. Like, yeah, getting rid of the tank that was supposed to help it. But yeah, worked pretty well. Sometimes it's literally just the reaction. It triggers to go into one base mode on your opponent's side, and that's all you really necessarily wanted it to do in the first place. So yeah, if it triggers the reaction and you just kind of macro behind it, then you're good.
Okay, we're gonna get into game number 2 here on Thunderbird.
Yeah, this one again, the winding middle path, because Ketroc goes so much air, I think tends to favor him. It's since negativeZero wants to be really aggressive, I think it's harder to do that. On this one, it just feels like the distance and winding path is a little more convoluted. So we'll see if that makes a difference, and we'll see if we go for the bunker contain open, and maybe that gets up with the tank, and we get something more stable there, and we don't even get into a mid game. So let's jump in and see what is potentially the last game of the night. Let's go.
All right.
-0. Ketroc.
So interesting there in the chat at the start of the game. Ketroc is choosing the bunker contain strong again, but you can actually see it stating its win rate with various things. And it actually has a losing record with this win rate or with this build, but it looks like it has a losing record with everything.
It's a lot better than,
yeah,
than the other
0 and
builds.
28 and 0 and 23. So, but weirdly, I think in that the maybe the winningest was bunker contain weak. But I think what's interesting is in the first game, it accidentally did bunker contain weak because it blocked itself.
Yeah. So we'll see if Ketroc can potentially beat those odds. It is interesting that Ketroc this is ladder data that it's using for this.
Yeah.
Whereas, for example, previously it seems like we have Xena, which does the same thing, prints its builds and its win rate at the start, having that data reset. So it's interesting to see the different approaches from the bot authors.
Yeah, MicroMachine also said 0-0 when it started. So, yeah. So we will get that. Again, pretty in your face bunker.
Yeah, poor negativeZero. This happens to it a lot between BenBot and Ketroc getting bunker contained, but it always responds the same way in that it says, whatever, man, build your bunker. I'm just going to chill on one base, and then eventually it breaks out. It doesn't pull all its probes in a panic or anything.
Yeah, which often is the best way to go. I kind of always referred to this, particularly in stuff like cannon rushes, as like the no struggle defense is often more is lost by trying to stop them when you can't, to then conserving things, keep things mining, build up, and deal with it when you're able to.
I agree. I'm definitely a believer in having like one probe attack the SCV that's building, but other than that, negativeZero's response does seem to be fine as it's producing those stalkers. Ketroc does have that tank on the way already, though. No rocks to block it out.
Yeah, and positioning here will be interesting. There's more of an opportunity for the tank to be in a spot to guard the bottom of the ramp, which is less so on the previous map. Covering that is definitely key.
Yeah, and yeah, let's see here as that tank is just rolling on up. Now, one of the things about it that makes this build strong is that Ketroc pulls 3 SCVs to repair this. That's quite a commitment.
Yeah.
Stalkers back up upon seeing that tank siege. negativeZero handles tanks quite well. And yeah, you may be right. In that last game where Ketroc sort of made its bunker contain weak, that may be better, because now negativeZero dives forward, picks off the one tank. But that's a tank now Ketroc will not have at home to defend, and potentially the second one as well.
yeah, could end up intercepting this. And this is kind of, yeah, my point from the first game too, of like, once you've got enough, you just walk out, kill the tank, and you're cool. And in this case, the fact that he's like behind the bunker, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Now getting the SCVs, so
Yeah.
damn it, the bunker can actually be killed.
Yeah.
Now it does lose another stalker, which isn't great.
Yeah.
The Marines, though, are pretty much free at this point. Ketroc may also lose its barracks, which is a big loss because, I mean, it's only got one factory, and it will definitely want to build more later on, I assume. Well, it might do.
Yeah.
It could just go mass air again. But.
Yeah, and I do kind of feel in this position, if I'm -0, do I feel worse off? And I don't think so. I think I'm better.
Yeah, I agree because there's no defensive tanks now for Ketroc back at home.
Yeah.
And the killer -0 immediately moves out for a counterattack because it's got no reason not to, based off what it's seen. There is a Cyclone out for Ketroc. There's one defensive tank. -0 may get there just before that planetary is done, which could mean -0 is confident enough to dive on in here, and it is. Kills off the tank. And the planetary does finish, though, but still, -1 tank.
Yeah, Cyclone potentially will get trapped here along the rocks. Didn't kill the factory this time. Now a stalker going out to get it, but maybe better off
man.
that, again, you're getting more units coming out and dying.
Ketroc will not be able to build any more starports once this factory dies either, and it doesn't have a barracks.
Yeah, that's a huge difference.
It does start up one more starport before that factory dies. I'm curious if it'll build a barracks now. If it wants to build a starport, or if it'll just get stuck. It does build a barracks, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely important to have started that third one. And then it'll be, does -0 decide it can move in or potentially bypass that? But it will definitely be able to stop any third from getting up for quite a while.
Yeah, unlike in the previous game where Ketroc was able to build those bases on location.
Oh, and if you could just, snap down a Banshee before Cloak was ever out.
Banshee Cloak does finish, so -0 will scatter. This is going to push those stalkers away potentially, but not all the way back.
Yeah, and that is not where Ketroc wanted to use his cloak. He wants to use that on the other side of the map.
Well, if it had at least pushed the stalkers far enough away to start a third base, I'd say that's good. But it didn't push them that far back.
Yeah, so Stargate coming out now quicker for -0, and the third base will start up. And yeah, this is in a way a much stronger contain. Can move to that third. Stalkers will probably try and get like an observer or something out, an oracle or whatever, to then be able to go back on the offense.
Yeah, Ketroc is doing the best it can. It does have that third base building towards the left side now, which -0 may not find out about for a while.
Yeah, so both of them will just set for a little while, but Ketroc has not been able to go on the offense or get any economic damage. Another Banshee coming will slip its way across. Maybe this will pull the army back now.
Yeah, this could be good. It looks like Ketroc is just... It's almost heading right towards that third nexus, it seems.
Here's where we get into the pathing through the middle part, that the Banshees can just go right across, but -0 doesn't really know where to go right now to get back home, and it's like a long walk. But they may just go on the offense again. Or
yeah,
just
there
chill.
is an oracle on the way. But Ketroc, -0 may lose that third again.
Yeah, isn't dealing with that. super well.
Okay,
Things
one
do.
Phoenix comes in. The Banshee, it's just the little things for Ketroc that is so good. The
Yeah.
Banshee doesn't cloak till there's an active threat for it.
Yeah.
And then it pops the cloak to preserve as much energy. Now, negativeZero did start up a 4th base prior to losing that 3rd, so it does sort of have a fallback base already on the way, but that
That
itself
one's-
may die.
Yeah, already under attack here by a fair bit. Here comes the
Oh.
Oracle. Did not have energy or use it on
just
that one.
revealed
Oh, okay.
one Banshee
Yeah.
instead of the 4. So
Yeah.
negativeZero is potentially going to lose that. Another Oracle comes on in and drops that Revelation. That is really good, saving that base. Now, it does seem like this is kind of turning around for Ketroc, though. If it can get another round of Banshees out to hit that base, that would be huge for it. If the Vikings can, say, pick off the Oracles again and then just force back negativeZero, it's kind of mission accomplished. There is 2 observers. We may see a scan to try and kill those. There's 1 scan, however, that observer may just escape. Not quite. negativeZero does dive on this planetary. We'll lose the Ketroc will lose the 4th base. Scan to, or the Raven helped kill the observer. There is an Oracle. It drops a Revelation. That Banshee that wasn't revealed should get on there, and it does, forcing the Stalkers of negativeZero back. But there's another Revelation.
Yeah. It's as long as the Revelations keep it. It's all about can you efficiently get rid of the Banshees?
Yeah.
Because once they get too much or they get too spread out, then there's just no way to clean them up.
It
So
does
it's
seem.
yeah.
It does seem like there's enough, though, that Ketroc
Yeah.
can continuously just keep
Yeah.
cycling them.
It feels like an enemy is making 6 at a time. So unless you're
Yeah.
really, which often requires that sort of like blink to jump on to absolutely end them. Like you need a full reset, and we're not getting there. But the Stalkers do get up here on the high ground. Are they going to make their way to that 3rd base and potentially control the economy a little bit?
Yeah, maybe. Now, the big difference here is that negativeZero kept that 4th base alive. It has got up a 3rd base now. So its production is going to be looking quite good. It's heavily bottlenecked by gas, but it does fire up some more of those assimilators.
Yeah, getting speed for the Phoenix can help, going up to Tempest. And yeah, of course, if this gets in, although there's a planetary there as well. Yeah, I just don't know where we're going to get a decisive action, but killing a lot of workers is nice.
Yeah, negativeZero is picking those off for Ketroc. That's a problem that we see in a lot of the bots that are on the defensive, is that they'll transfer workers without really considering their safety.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you want to keep your economy going. The fact that the 4th can't really get up at the moment is going to become a problem.
Okay, Banshee's moving on out. negativeZero seems, well, maybe is aware of that. There is 4 Banshees. There is a cannon at that base, I believe, although it may have already gone down. Yeah. Okay, this is the 5th base, actually.
Okay, good Revelation that time. 1 Banshee just stubborn. That's the one that was already there.
Oh, okay. And Ketroc kind of got out there, so it does have 3 command centers building, 4 command centers building now. You let it out.
Catch up.
And it's like, all right,
Take
4 bases.
everything. Yeah.
Banshees grab a Nexus. That's a nice pickoff. The more Ketroc is attacking, the less it has to worry about negativeZero counterattacking and really striking it down. It is very important for Ketroc, though, that it does get up at least one of these bases and gets mining gas as quickly as possible at it. And she's almost get that 5th base, but not quite.
They can also kind of tell when they are in detection range, and they don't bother to cloak until they're out of it. So you saw they flew away from the observer, and only after they were out of it did they cloak.
Yeah, the Banshees of Ketroc are just about as efficient as they can be. Looks like one base does get found. Does that really matter, as it's got another like 3 buildings? Maybe not. And there is more refineries going up, which is so critical for Ketroc, because those Banshees cost a lot of gas. Banshees finding Nexus of -0 again and again. It's incredible how well Ketroc is doing with this style.
Yeah. Yeah, just consistent, patient, always kind of looks for an opportunity to attack.
Yeah, Vikings are fighting the Phoenix. Base may go down. Yes, it will. Looks like Ketroc did move out with its Vikings too soon, though. And the Phoenix of -0 were able to take that fight. -0 does at least have +2 attack on these Phoenix. Yeah, and Ketroc doesn't have enough Vikings to actually challenge this yet, but it is still just flying around with the Banshees, picking off bases.
Yeah, acting as if. Yeah, it's always hard. Like, it's something that's always interesting with things like Banshees and stuff, of like, you can have all the stuff that should be able to kill them all, but then it doesn't.
Okay,
they
this
scatter.
is quite
this is a big
slaughter.
reset.
Yeah.
This is finally the big reset. I think they need it. Yeah.
Now, Ketroc does have incredible production, so it can build a lot more of these. That was really nice for -0, though. It's at 200 supply. It's got Tempest out.
Yeah.
And then the problem is the Vikings can handle the Tempest, but now that the Stalkers are unopposed by the Banshees, that's where it gets very complicated. Ketroc will lose a base. It can afford to lose a few of those. Vikings have got 2/2 upgrades, soon to be 3/3, which will really help out against these Phoenix, because Vikings just scale way better than Phoenix. But as far as the numbers go, things are looking quite poor, as Ketroc is down to 34 army supply against the 116 of -0.
Indeed, and yeah, with it just being Phoenix, the big key last time was the Viking count getting up, I think is a big part of this. But yeah, is there just too many Phoenix this time around? Well, now they're just dancing weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know now.
Like, Vikings do scale better than
Yeah.
the Phoenix, and once they have 3/3, it's going to be a really big deal. -0 is building 4 at a time, though, so it can afford some of these losses. The stance is very silly, although the Tempest are kind of shooting a little bit. Ketroc has been producing just nothing but Vikings, though, meaning that there is still no answer to this handful of Stalkers on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Tempests are going to get, accumulate and become better as well. And yeah, if the Stalkers can find the right angle on something, then that's very helpful. The worker count's still pretty similar for both.
Command center floating to a bad time. -0 really is stepping on Ketroc right now.
Yeah.
As this planetary is being repaired. There is a high Viking count out still, I imagine, but they're kind of being zoned out a little bit by the Stalkers on the ground. They are going to try and dive on this Tempest, so we're seeing that dive effect that Ketroc programmed in to handle the Tempest. Now they're going to have to turn and fight those Phoenix. They are caught out. No turrets or anything to fly back on. I mean, they're going to trade out okay, just -0 does have a lot of production in order to replace these.
Yeah, it's going to be, can you get the amount of Vikings you need to stabilize and then restart the Banshee production? That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
You're tapping the same well for both, and you're running out of resources.
Yeah, that's exactly what's been happening here. Ketroc having to rebuild SCVs it's been losing, so now it's not got minerals that it needs.
Yeah, and the Stalkers finally really just going into mineral lines.
Yeah, it's so cool. You don't ever really see in human games mass Phoenix versus mass Vikings, because the Vikings usually just win with some level of ground support. But -0 is making it work.
Yeah, I mean, Ketroc is creeping back up in army supply. I think it's just too late. There's not enough economy left on the ground to get back to where you need to be. and negativeZero's got every other base.
Yeah, it's been very, very close, but just not quite, it seems, for Ketroc, as the snowball has been very real here.
Yep, so it looks like we're going to end up at a third match. And yeah, I kind of think, rewinding back to the beginning of the game, even though the bunker and everything was more successful, ultimately it wasn't. Is that it ended up being less good at dealing with the initial attack because you actually lost assets up front instead of having them at home. And then, yeah, I think a lot really did come down to catching all those banshees at the edge of the map. Like, you either decimate them or you don't. Like, that sort of thing's huge. But once you do, it's really hard to get that back.
Yeah, like, I don't think it can be overstated how close Ketroc was to pulling that back there.
Yeah.
As, like, if it had just, say, been able to get out a few more banshees or something,
yeah,
and then hit -0, but, like, as soon as it had that big reset, like you said, it really went downhill.
Yeah, even prior to that, when it was going after the fourth base, it probably had it down to 20% health. Had it finished that one, then maybe that's a difference as well. You don't get as strong an economy back. So
it was a very, very close game.
Yeah. So we're going to be moving on to Acropolis for the rubber match here. Now, Ketroc, now that it has lost with this one, is it going to switch to something else? Or is it still going to look at it and say, well, I was 0-28 with this other thing. So I think I'm going to stick with this. So let's find out what it does do. And will negativeZero respond differently?
Okay.
-0. Ketroc.
Okay, so a different build from Ketroc.
Yeah, we're going to get the mech all in, which I believe in this list is the second winningest. Still has a losing record overall, but 8-13 is not too bad.
No, definitely not. And
yeah, Marine Rush was similar there with 10-16. It looked like, but yeah, it looks like mech all in. Give it a shot.
Having any build that has a decent win rate against -0 is an achievement in itself. So, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our final match for the night. Make sure you guys click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below, and you can check out the ProBots membership program using the join button.
Indeed. Always good to do. Support your local bots.
Exactly.
Yeah. Since bots are everywhere, they're always local.
-0 blocking that ramp.
They should put little people or aliens down there having brunch.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
That's nice. It's Adam's place.
Is the one on the other side
also Adam's place? I bet it is, but I don't think you can see it. Can you get?
It just says cafe, so maybe not.
That one does. Would it be the purple sign? Yeah, I don't know. I like that. This feels like one of the most contemporary maps. It just feels like normal cars in a normal restaurant. And,
yeah.
I mean, either way, one of these places should sue the other place. Like, you're clearly copying. So the lion with a spiked collar or something. It almost looked like more like a bear.
I think it's a dog.
Yeah, that one's wolfish. It's slightly different than the other one, but yeah, that makes sense. Maybe this is Rome in new times, and that's Romulan and Remus. raised by wolves.
So you're saying the other restaurant is Caesar's then?
That's possible. Yeah. Yeah. Want to meet at Caesar's? No, let's go to Adams. Just off theme.
I don't know, man. There's Protoss by
yeah,
Adams.
Sure. Yeah. It's always a concern.
Okay, so mech all in with double factories from Ketroc. Tanks are incredibly effective in bot games. negativeZero is pretty good at handling them, but they are still a threat when you have a few out very early on.
Indeed. Always a concern. And yeah, and does negativeZero have an inkling of what's going on? Like immortals are definitely kind of nice to have against tanks. But when Ketroc says all in, how all in is this? It's like obviously looks one base all in. Yeah,
I think it's quite all. I think it's
it
quite
looks
all in.
very all in. It looks very all in. So
yeah. I'm not even sure if Ketroc has a transition after this build. So like this is.
So if there's 2 immortals out, I mean that's pretty good, and the chrono boost is going on that. So it's just whether this is deliberate or accidental. It feels like he's going the right way.
Oh yeah, negativeZero is just so good when it comes to picking its composition and based off what it scouts. So those immortals are a big deal. Now we do have those tanks rolling across the map. If they can get sieged up, that really is the big thing that matters. negativeZero has seen this with its Adept Shade. Ketroc's moving in. The tanks are sieging. Marines have to buffer for this. The one at the back is a little late sieging, and there's the negativeZero dive on top of this army, and the tanks are gone.
Yeah. And I feel like the Marines didn't fully understand their job in that. They needed to stay in front, and they just kind of peeled away. And
they just didn't even really get a chance to get set up in time. negativeZero pounces on this once again and shuts the tanks down. And you can't have a rush without the tanks. I think the big thing that happened here was negativeZero saw it. Ketroc's tanks weren't sieged up ahead of time, so they were sort of mid-siege, and we see that again, as negativeZero just knows how to handle tanks by diving on them. Yeah,
you just go forward. And that was kind of discussed in like the attributes pre-game, that it prioritizes, the highest damage things, splash, strategic units, things like that. It does a good job there, and also not getting tripped up with the sight blocker here.
Yeah, we've got a Nexus done for negativeZero. Ketroc is still just committed to this rush, pulling more SCVs, but just feeding into negativeZero's army piecemeal and unable to find any success with this, it seems, as negativeZero is just pushing across the map, going for the throat to kill Ketroc and say, look here, I get out of this group in first place, as I think was expected, but Ketroc definitely gave it a run for its money.
Yeah, no, definitely splitting this 2-1 here in the end, and pretty interesting back and forth in the first couple of games. This one just kind of a hard counter to what it's doing, and really good control. So negativeZero, you may not find that in a set of real numbers, but you will find it in the round of 8.
Yeah, well done by negativeZero. Able to advance and not get cheesed out by Ketroc, so well done.
That was an interesting early engagement.
It was.
Just everything was bad there, but he wouldn't retreat. Here, we have some of the initial and repeated kills of this third base in this first game, and that going down. This is the third in the second game. This one does fall. We later get an attack at the fourth where it barely stays alive.
Yeah, the fact that negativeZero has got
this one.
The fourth up.
Oh, no, not this one. This is after that. But this is the massive cleanup of all the Banshees here.
That was, that was a big deal.
Yeah. Maybe a case where they decided, like, we really got to kill the Nexus here, when that was a time to bail. And just get caught against the
Phoenix
side of the map.
are just so darn quick, and they were revealed, so it's kind of
there's no way out. Yeah, and then
And,
here,
yeah.
last game, big jump on this position. Marines just retreating.
Yeah, as if you want to make an engagement like that work for the Terran, well, for starters, if your opponent has immortals, you're probably not going to do too well in the first place. But
Yeah.
then like you kind of need to have the tank sieged up, so then the enemy walks in and gets shot right away. -0 was already in the circle, so all done.
Indeed.
Absolutely well done. Whew, man, you know what? You know it's a winner's bracket game when the games take this long.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can always tell the difference of where we are in the bracket based on the length of the games. So it was fantastic. -0. I admit I was a little kind of worried after the first game for -0. I was like, uh-oh, you could get murked. But hey, Ketroc. But Ketroc though, don't snooze. Straight up don't snooze on Ketroc because even without updates, there were no updates for either of these bots. I actually Ketroc didn't even update him bringing into the tournament. So you know, that's pretty well done. And I think you said Laughing Games before that -0 usually beats Ketroc in like the regular games, like ladder games, I think.
Well, you could see from the records
Yeah.
in those
Oh.
builds, like, right?
Most
like not,
of the time.
Yeah, there was not a winning match in some, and most of them were 0 and whatever. So, yeah.
I wonder if it was just a good set of like circumstance, whether that's map specific. Like obviously there was an unfortunate destroying of rocks earlier,
Yeah.
but that didn't stop him from winning.
I think literally that ended up being fortunate. Like
Yeah.
we
Really?
said, I think it was beneficial because then that tank didn't die, and that was a big part of holding the counter push, which didn't happen the second time. So
I have to review
yeah,
that one again.
yeah.
So fantastic. So let's take a look at the brackets and see how we got here. And, see what we got wrapped up for the night. So Changeling took the game 2-0 against BenBot, and -0 took 2-1 against Ketroc.
Yeah.
And that brings them down, Ketroc down to the bottom against GPT. So Tom Thumb, you're going to go up to Ketroc, and BenBot, you're going against Aeolus next week. That'll be.
And bot authors will be able to make an update prior to that, correct?
Yeah, which again, or was it this?
No,
last
so
one?
they
yeah,
will.
no.
So they
Yeah.
after that week there will be another
Okay,
update, and that gets us into the round of 8, and that will be the last update for this season.
Yeah.
So the next games that happen, next week's games is it's as is, and so we'll get to see. Yeah, they'll go up as they are. Come as you are.
So we'll see if ChatGPT, or I keep always just saying ChatGPT. We'll see if the general purpose Terran has made an updates, because he got knocked down to losers by Ketroc. So it'll be a rematch for those two.
Well, oh wait, actually no, sorry. I was gonna say that only this week. Sorry, this batch of games we only got to see only 2 bots updated, so we don't know what the other side,
Other ones have.
the other side. So they probably updated. I would if I'm in the lower bracket. I'm updating for sure.
Yeah, you
So-
probably have a good idea who your opponent's gonna
Yeah.
be. You can
Yeah.
probably predict
Yeah.
who's gonna get knocked down. So
Yeah,
think-
you could probably get a good gets, and if not, you can definitely option select like the more dangerous of the two to focus on. So.
Yeah. I think the one that I'm most looking forward to, because I believe it has been updated since, but I don't think it was updated at the start of the tournament, is Tier. So that's one I'm looking forward to.
Yes, absolutely. And Tears, he's due for a comeback. I think that his little one hopefully has gotten a little bit older, giving him more bot time. For those who doesn't know, he had, so I don't know how many years ago now, he had a young one and had to shelve work on Tier, but Tier has slowly become more active. So maybe little one is walking and building their own bots. So now
Maybe, yeah.
So here we are. All right. So, wow, it's been a long night, but we'll wrap this up. And first things first. If you guys want to start your own bot, you know where the template is. Download, description, newsletter, join button, like, subscribe, all that stuff in one big bundle. Gentlemen, last and final thoughts for the night. What are you looking forward to? What you enjoyed tonight? Wrap us up.
I mean,
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, just all the games, like all the series were phenomenal, and that's what you get with the top bots and how advanced they are. I'm really looking forward to see who makes it through to the round of 8 for the next next day of the stream. So
Day 5.
Day 5, yes. I'm looking forward to that as we'll get to see the losers again.
Yeah, and I think there are a couple that could potentially come up. Whale Mean is down there.
Oh,
That's
Whale
always
I
a
think Whale
potential.
Mean got killed,
I think-
didn't it?
yeah,
They did
Whale
get killed.
Mean-
Oh yeah,
Whale Mean's
sorry,
done.
maybe did. Yeah, sorry.
Whale Mean's
So-
done.
Nana
so
killed
now-
Whale Mean.
Yeah, you're right. So Kenny Nana could definitely come back up.
Yeah.
So so I think that there's a couple that could do it, and these were all none of this was a stomp or anything. So I think
No.
if we get rematches, then I think we can get different stuff, especially with updates between.
Mhm.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's excited and for sure as well. Don't forget as well on Laughing Games channel, he does daily -1 a day, daily -1
I'm
day.
forever shamed.
Of bot casting, so you can get like, even though if you haven't had enough of these bots, you haven't had your fill, go over to his channel, pretty much his name at Laughing's Games on YouTube here, and get more of your daily bot fix -1 day. So
Yes. Yeah, thank you. I've got I just cast a fun -0 versus -0 match, so
Nice.
that's something to look forward to.
wait, he's playing himself?
Yeah, the bot author ran a game of -0 playing -0, and it was actually amazing. So that's
Is
one to
it
look
one of,
forward
like,
to.
Is it like the Spider-Man meme?
Pretty
It's
much,
like-
yeah.
Okay. Cool. So be sure to check that out. And if you want to find Edge, you just come watch ProBots. That's where he is.
Yeah. I've also got a YouTube channel, but it's a totally different game.
That's not
So, but I mean, check it out. If you like Star Trek, it still has the word star in it.
Are there
Yeah.
Star Trek bots? No? All right. Well, other than that, though, you guys can check us here. Same time next week here on ProBots. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.